Hello and welcome to episode 91 of In PS We Trust, a PlayStation podcast. My name's Davey and joined with me, as always, is the fine wine himself, Mr. Philip Hoy.
We gave up on our humanity in order to survive.
And the boy wonder, Spencer Davis.
Yeah, see.
yeah. What was that about, Phil? What was that for? What was that
I can tell
from?
neither of you have played Stellar Blade yet.
No,
just
not yet.
something she says throughout the game. So yeah, they gave up on their humanity in order to survive. Ooh, isn't that getting the juices flowing? Can't you imagine how that's going to fit into the game?
All I'm thinking of, mate, is those chest opening animations that I've been seeing on Twitter lately. You know, where they're all in a bikini opening chests. And I mean, like, you know, I played a lot of God of War in my time, and he opens a lot of chests. And I enjoy the ferocity of him putting an arm through it. But seeing that on my timeline was nice. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm thinking of.
I know what you're saying. There's a certain way that she opens chests, and it's very... Yeah, it's geared towards a certain audience, and I think it's achieved that.
I think it has. And speaking of gearing towards a certain audience, we are a fortnightly PlayStation podcast, and some say the sexiest PlayStation podcast on the internet. Not my words. Just look at the reviews.
Your mum's been on there again, has she?
She has, mate. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. She's on there all the time.
Cheers, Liz.
We're driving towards 30. So, Mum, if you can make some more accounts, please, and put some more ratings on there. Stop saying Phil's the best one, though. It's really not fun, Mum. I'm not enjoying that. But bringing it back on point, we are a fortnightly PlayStation podcast, and today we have got a absolute juicer of an episode for you. I say that all the time, but I really mean it today more than any other. We got an absolute stack of news from having a brand new CEO coming to Sony itself, Helldivers news, Dead by Daylight news, Jesus Christ. You think about it, it's probably on this doc. It is that stack today. But we've also got a stack of listener questions, 3 separate rumors as well. So the rumor mill is really kicking off as we build towards what people anticipate is going to be a new showcase and, of course, the Summer Game Fest. Loads to go through today. But first, before we do any of that, we normally start with a hypothetical, and we're going to get there. But first, quick update on last episode. So the tail end of episode 90, 2 weeks ago, the news had just come out that Helldivers was stopped being played in a load of different countries, that you had to link up a PlayStation Network account that was mandatory. And at that point, the Sony FAQs made it very clear that it wasn't a mandatory change. You didn't have to do it. And the Steam one said it was mandatory. So there was a bit of conflict there. Me and Phil, we made a bet, didn't we, Phil? I was Team
yes.
Yeah. I was Team Sony. You were Team Steam. And I think the less said about it, the better. To be honest, I don't think there's too much need to give an update as to what happened. I think we can all just realize that we've learnt from this experience, and that it's not the case that Sony update the FAQ literally the moment this episode is finished recording, which is exactly what they did. So it's like, fuck's sake, Sony, man. We record, it was one thing, and then literally like a day after, we're like editing it all up, and boom, they changed the FAQ to say it is mandatory to match Steam. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I'm happy to let that one slide if you are, Phil.
Definitely not. How do you feel about that, Spence? We're not letting him get away with it yet again, are we? And confuse us with science. I was on the side of justice. I was on the side of knowledge. I was on the side of truth. And yet again, I am right.
This ain't my battle to fight, lad. As much as I do want to side with you, it's big quiz next step, and this fella's got 5 shots to give. So let's be honest, Phil. Yes, you're right.
Thank you.
But I'm not gonna gloat or say more. I'll leave it there.
Do you know what? I'm going to be the bigger man. I will accept defeat. I will accept that the dice roll did not go in my favor. It wasn't a D20. It was, in fact, a natural 1. And that does not bode well for me. So I'll put my hands up. It is what it is. I'm glad, though, that we've had some news that has come on the back of this and that PlayStation have slightly reversed the decision. It's not all the way there. there is a case of there's 177 countries that still can't play Helldivers 2 right now. Although, I will go out on record, and it's going to be shocking to people, who gives a fuck about these 177 countries, really? I mean, come on. What is it,
Wow.
like Croatia? It's like Guernsey's in there. It's like Guernsey are barely hanging on to being a fucking country. Like, we're lucky we still keep them in, and they're like a channel island. Who the fuck cares about what you get? Their only export is fucking cream. Like, no one gives a fuck about Guernsey and that. Like, if they can't have one, fine. Like, I'm sorry. You can go and, I don't know what they fucking do. You can go and churn some fucking milk. Make some cream for me to drink in my fucking coffee in the morning. Like, fuck off. But maybe that's just me. Audience, let us know. Let us know. Am I out of line here by thinking that really doesn't really fucking matter? What, you thinking I am out of line here? Have a look at those 177 countries, Spence. I bet you don't even know what half of them are.
Let's see.
Can you pick them out on the map?
Freeze. I could not pick them out on the map. I'll tell you that right now. I couldn't pick out the UK.
That's
Countries
wild.
that can't get a PSN.
The problem is we're on 240 subscribers, and we might have lost a few in the last couple of days. So they preempted your little rant here, haven't they? So it's all those listeners that are from like Guernsey and all those small countries that you're saying are insignificant and you don't care about. Listeners, yeah. I care about you. If you are in those countries, make sure you hit the sub, and in the comments say you've subbed because of Phil, not because of Davey.
Well, all I'll say, guys, is that for those 5 people that live in Guernsey who were enjoying Helldivers, right? Unlucky you can't get a fucking PS5, bro. Like, what are you doing? Living in a country where you can't get a PS5? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Japan is on this list. There's no way you can't get PSN in Japan.
No, they got separate rules. It's a slightly different system, but it still is. Yeah, it's not them. Wild, mate. Absolutely wild. But yeah, name me a country on there, Spence, that actually moves the dial in terms of video game sales or has a population that's worthy of being on PSN. So I think now it's more like a sign of respect. If your country isn't good enough to have PSN, you don't deserve it, to be honest. That's the hardline stats I'm going on.
Out of all of them, mind, have you tried the cream from Guernsey?
Yeah, it's class. Really good.
There you are, mate. Give them PSN.
No. They don't pay tax. They don't pay tax like us. That's their reason.
That's great for them.
Yeah. It mugs me off, mate. Mugs me off.
That's an issue with us, not them.
No. If they want to be in the Channel Islands, mate, they want to start... There's no non-dom status over there. Come on over, pay the same fucking tax for your little island. And to be fair, I'm taking the piss a lot. I've been to Guernsey. I've been to Jersey. Both really nice. Like, really lovely. Like, they're great, actually. It's wild that they can't get it. But, move over the fucking water, innit? Stop being half French, which is what you are being a Channel Island. Like, fuck, man. Crazy. But yeah, so there you go. So that's enough of that. Let's move on to our hypothetical, shall we, lads? We got a listener has written in. The Hollywood hot dog himself, Lurian, has written in. And he's asked us, which PlayStation characters are the most likely to A, kill somebody by accident, B, cheat in a game or sport, C, commit suicide, D, steal from someone they trust, or E, sacrifice themselves? So I think we kind of go round this, and if there's any that we really want to pick at and go for, we can go for it. But then I think what we do to make it a little bit interesting is at the end, we decide who's got the best list out of the 3 of us. And whoever's got the best list becomes the champion. Means nothing, but it's just a little bit of extra gloat in it as we go forward in episode 91. So, Spence, kick it off. Tell me somebody who is the most likely character to kill someone by accident.
Okay, I do have 2 names written down, but I think the one I'll go with, because I think it's not the one you guys will probably have.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Ellie Williams from Last of Us. Namely, Last of Us 2.
Okay.
I think, I don't want to spoil the game because the remaster's just come out and season 2 of the show's coming out eventually. But she literally kills someone by accident. So.
Yeah, so it's a really, really good point. It is a really good point. I think she is also just a proper mass murderer, mind.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't think there's like any loss on her side where she's really gutted about it. I know she's like has a little cry at that moment, but she's killed about 700 people on the way there. So, you know, is it that bad she gets a 2-for-1-er? It's not really that bad, is it? But Phil, what do you reckon? Who is the most likely to kill someone by accident?
Well, David, I'm glad you asked. I've gone down the same sort of route as young Spencer here, and I've gone for Nathan Drake because he is a stone-cold killer with a sunny disposition. He mass murders throughout every game, every Uncharted game. He's literally killing everyone he meets. There's only a few people that survive through Uncharted, and he's going along just making jokes to his best friend all the way through. If that was real life, that's properly psycho. Because a lot of mass murderers suffer, don't they? You know, you hear about them on their Netflix documentaries of how they've got really bad trauma through growing up. They've got really kind of mad mental health that they're going through. Not Nathan Drake. He's happy. He's just on the beach, isn't he? Just enjoying himself, making jokes, laughing all the way to the bank. Ha ha ha, I just found that treasure, but I murdered 400 people. Fuck 'em.
He's also like that. It'd be so insulting to be killed by him as well, because like he throws a grenade and he's like, "Look out below," or like "whoop de doo" as he like throws it, right? And he'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like it wouldn't be like something that's like "die," throws it over, and you'd be like, "Okay, right, well, fair enough. You know, I'm dead. I get it." But if someone's like "whoop de doo," while they throw a little grenade over the corner, you'd be like, "Oh, not like this." Boom, and then you're dead. Like, oh, that would suck. But yeah. I like it. I like both of you all guys. I've gone for somebody who I'm amazed doesn't kill more people, but probably should, especially if it's real life. And that's Cloud Strife. This guy is wielding a massive ass sword, and he slashes everyone with it. Everyone gets the source of that sword. No one really dies. So I think he is very likely to murder. Like, if he came through swinging that, bro. People call like a machete in London when they're walking around and it's like a 7-inch blade. That thing's like a 42-inch fucking sword. Like, wielding that fucker is gonna decimate people. Like, even if you just clobbered them with it, like, even if you clobbed them with the handle, the weight on that thing is madness. Someone's getting cleaved like in half from a Buster Sword swipe. So I reckon he's proper. He's a killer waiting to happen, he is.
He's quite skillful, though, with the blade, isn't he? Wouldn't you say? He's got some very flashy moves. So do you think he would do it by accident? I could understand the weapon in someone else's hands. If he gave it to you or Spencer or myself, I'm sure if we tried any of those moves, immediately we would just kill someone by accident because we wouldn't be able to handle the weight, the kind of balance of the sword. But Cloud Strife, he's pretty good with that weapon, so I've heard.
He is, but then he's also got magic as well. So, like, he's got, like, lightning spells, fire, he's got summons. You might think, oh, this guy's strong. You know, like a bodybuilder walks up to him, and he thinks, oh, this guy's strong. And he just uses lightning
Let's bring out Ifrit.
Yeah, bring out... Well, what the fuck is that guy going to do? He's just getting roasted, bro. Or he'd just be like, oh, turn him into a frog. And the guy's a frog now. And that's, like, murder, like, second-degree murder. Because all the frog guy has to do is walk out onto the road and get squashed. And the court would find Cloud liable for it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying here. But yeah, great choices, guys. So the next category, cheat in a game or sport. So what are you saying then, Spence?
I've got 2 names for this as well, but I'll go with the one, again, I think you haven't put down. I'm going to say Sly Cooper.
Ooh.
I think he's a thieving little bastard. I think he'd place some dodgy bets and then throw the game and just leave with his rewards.
I like it. Yeah, it's very on point for him, isn't it? And even though he's like a hero character, so you think, oh, no, he wouldn't do it. You know, he's a nice guy. He would. If he had to, he would. Yeah, he fucking absolutely would.
He'd do it anyway, lad.
Yeah, he definitely would. He definitely would. What about yourself, Mr. Hoy? Where are you going with that one?
Well, I've gone for a little bit of research on this question. I've gone for a known cheat within a game or within a game of sport. I've gone back and done a bit of research on the famous cheats within baseball. So I've picked out Barry Bonds, and apparently he's in MLB The Show, and he's famous for taking steroids. So he's an absolute tank that hits the homers in MLB. Although looking it up, they've actually removed his home run record from the show 23, and it just says San Francisco Giants. So they know he's a cheat, but he's in the game, but they haven't honoured his cheating ways.
I like it. I like it. Well, I've gone kind of similar to you, actually, weirdly enough. Not in baseball, but I've gone for fucking... I was thinking about FIFA, right? And I was thinking of... Do you remember a game called Red Card back in the day? Do you remember that?
I do. Yes.
Well, that game was a football game where it was all about fouling. And so I was thinking, well, they're not breaking any rules in that. They're not cheating because it's allowed, right? So you could like go up and bicycle kick someone in the head. Class. But then I was thinking, all right, well, if I take that to FIFA, someone who is a proper cheater, Maradona, bro. You could play as him if you get your FIFA packs. Hand of
Is
God.
he a PlayStation character, though?
Yeah, he's definitely not a PlayStation character. Though.
Is he going to appear in PlayStation All-Stars 2? Probably not.
He could, mate.
Barry Bonds probably not either, but he's actually in a PlayStation game, being MLB The Show. Maradona, is he PlayStation?
He does have. He's in a lot of PlayStation games. Do you think how many FIFAs he's in? Especially like now you get all these packs.
They're not PlayStation games.
It doesn't. It just says PlayStation character, and I wasn't taking it as an IP. It had to be an IP, but I do have one. If you're not allowing it, I do have one that we can use. I can just go to the obvious choice, and it's going to be Nathan Drake in it. Of course he is. If you're happy with that, I'll accept that. I was thinking my Maradona one was quite smart. Not going to lie, but I can get back down on it. I'll take it. It's always 2-on-1 in it on these shows. Fucking cool.
I literally looked up Red Card and the Wikipedia shows an Xbox copy.
Was Xbox around then? Was it?
Yes, Xbox. When you first Google it, it shows up with GameCube. When you click on the wiki, it shows up with Xbox.
Wild.
No PlayStation.
Wild.
Everything else.
That was one of the first football games I ever played was Red Card. It wasn't very good. And I thought...
Could you actually play Maradona in it?
Not in that. There was no licenses in that one. But in like FIFA you can. Like you get like a Legends. They have all these Legends modes, don't they? Where you can play as like all classic footballers and that. So I'm sure you can.
The front box art is a guy grabbing another player's nuts.
Yeah. Class. Maybe
Well, that's cheating in itself.
Yeah, well, it depends.
It's not. That's not in the game of football.
No, there's no rules in Red Card football though. So other than scoring and that, and actually, it's the normal rules of football, except you can just foul people.
It's FIFA Street.
Yeah. It's like FIFA and like Def Jam mixed together. What a fantastic
sick game.
What a fantastic idea that is. And so the next one on the list, guys, committing suicide. Which PlayStation character are the most likely to commit suicide? Spence, back around to you, my friend. What are you thinking?
Okay, so I've got a repeat for this. But I do have another character as well if you don't like it. I'd say Ellie again. Bro, she's been through so much. I think she's on the brink of suicide. And if she wasn't in a video game, if she was a real person, she'd have done it years ago. I think, yeah, definitely would.
I think it's a strong choice. So where my mind went first as well. But then I think, well, she's just playing the guitar really sad at the end, didn't she? So she hasn't done it. So I think like at that point, that's probably the lowest point of her life, that or earlier on in that game. And she doesn't do it for those two things. So I don't think there's much more that could happen to her.
Wow.
Well,
the thing is, she plays the guitar, then walks off. You don't know where she went, mate.
Yeah, she could have gone to the gallows. To the quicksand pit that's just outside. That'd be the worst way to go. Quicksand would
I do
suck.
agree, though, that she's more likely to write a banger on her guitar than actually commit suicide, because most, famous musicians, their past is full of tragedy. Okay, they haven't killed as many people as Ellie, but normally the good music comes from when you've got a broken heart or, bad things have happened in your life. So she's going to write songs. I don't think she's going to kill herself.
Not yet. We got Last of Us
Not
3
yet,
to go
anyway,
through yet. See what she does then.
Oh, yeah.
See what
she
happens.
is topping herself after Last of
Yeah,
Us
she
3.
might-
That's going to be a heartbreak.
That'd be so grim, wouldn't it? They're like, she finally gets the fireflies, and they're like, oh yeah, we can do the cure now. Thank God you're here. And it's just boom, just kills herself. The entire point. It was just totally pointless. The entire game. That would be a wild ending. Please, God, don't use that. So what about yourself, Phil? Where are you going with this one?
I've gone for, and I haven't played this game, it was just what I found when I was doing a little bit of research. Because apparently in a game called Demon Souls, don't know if you guys have ever played it, when you first come across, I think it's the first boss, right, that I'm reading in my notes, win or lose, you have to die. So you have to technically commit suicide. So I'm going to go for the character from Demon Souls, because you have to commit suicide. So he is most likely to progress within the game, because death is part of that game.
I like it. Do you know, I really like that one.
That's not bad at all.
That's a good one. That's a real good one.
Factual.
So I've gone for a game that unfortunately I have played, albeit not for very long. And my answer is any of the drivers from Destruction All-Stars when they realised that they were in that game. Like any of them. Just immediately just drive off a fucking cliff. Like, oh God, why am I here? Why am I in this? Like the worst game, one of the worst games on PS5. Especially from first, like, published by Sony. Jesus Christ. Absolute fucking shocker. Shocker. Next one, then. Steal from somebody they trust.
Well, I think there's two options for this again. So it's either, well, we've said both of them now. I'm going to say, Nathan Drake. I was going to say my other one. I'll say Nathan Drake. And I feel like he'd do it, like his enemies that he encounters all the time. He trusts them. He does trust them. But they're on opposite fights. Steals from them all the fucking time. Fucking, yeah, of course he would. He literally actively does it in like every game.
Yeah.
So, Nathan Drake. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Safe answer. Really like that one. What about yourself, Phil? Are you going down the same lines?
No, I've got another one we've talked about, though. I'm going to go for Sly Cooper on this one. And during my research, I found he's the last member of the Cooper clan, a long line of master thieves who primarily steal from other criminals. And the word there to take notice of is primarily, because other times I'm sure he's stealing from someone he trusts. So I'm going to say Sly Cooper.
Great choices, guys. I'm following up kind of on your line of thinking, Spence. I went for Nadine from Uncharted. Because she like kind of betrays, doesn't she, for a little bit in 2, and then kind of comes back on the side of good. So I was thinking about her. So yeah, great shouts all round. And the final one, sacrifice themselves. Who's most likely to do it? I think this one's actually quite tough because I think there's loads of choices for this. But what did you settle on, Spence?
Another repeat again. Ellie. It was literally her whole goal. Last of Us 1. She wanted to sacrifice herself to save the world.
Oh yeah,
it was the whole goal.
But she didn't know that was going to happen, though. She was just kind of forced
and then
into
what happened
it.
When she found out?
Yeah.
As soon as she found out, she was like, why didn't you let me?
Yeah.
She was pissed.
She says that until she gets into the operating room. And she's like, no, wait. I haven't watched the newest season of... There's this game coming out soon. You know, like, there's loads of shit there's to live for. Like, she should have second thoughts, mate. She'd be like, can't we just delay it 5 more years? And then
5 more years.
Yeah, and they're like, I don't know. And that's why they didn't want to take a chance. That's why they just drugged her straight away. They're like, nah, she's a fucking runner. The doctor's like, a spot. I've seen too many fucking runners in my time. She's a runner. And she got little legs and she's fast. So she'll be gone. Lickety split out of here. Drug her up, frame 1. And that's what they did. So, I don't know. I don't know if she is as nice as you think. I think she'd have second thoughts, mate. I think she'd pussy out at the final level. But we know.
I think not a chance. I think especially after everything she's been through now, she would easily sacrifice herself.
Oh, yeah.
She'd be glad to do it.
Yeah, be like they're committing suicide, though, wouldn't it? It's more so it's a sweet release for her.
But it's for a purpose, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, true. You could just scoop her brains out from the wall after she blows her head off, to be fair. Like, you could probably get quite a lot of a spoon, couldn't you? Put it in a jar. No fridges. But
yeah,
you can make it work. Let's see what happens in number 3. What about yourself, Phil? Where are you going with this?
Well, I'm sticking to The Last of Us, and I'm going to pick Tess, because there was nothing sadder, in my opinion, the death of Tess in The Last of Us, because she sacrificed herself for Joel and Ellie so they could escape all the soldiers, didn't she? And we saw that in the HBO, was it HBO series, and that moment really stuck with me. You know, she knows she's already dead anyway because she's infected, but she sacrifices herself for the greater good. So she actually sacrificed herself in the video game, in the HBO series. So I'm going with Tess from The Last of Us.
All right, both taking it from the same universe. How'd you feel about that one, Spence? Happy with that?
It's a good shout, and she does do it. It's obviously it's a bit different in the show and the game, but ultimately it's the same. She does sacrifice herself. But I feel like, would she, if her fate wasn't already doomed?
No chance.
I feel like she wouldn't.
No way. No way. She's hard stuff,
No.
man. She's Joel, the female Joel. I reckon she'd be like, nah.
She was worse than Joel. She was way more badass than Joel. She was the leader. He was a little sheep, bruv.
Yeah. I agree with you, Spence. I don't reckon she'd. I reckon no way.
But she actually sacrificed herself, unlike Ellie, who's still now, cottoning on for a couple more quid to be a number 3.
Yeah, that's true. I see both your arguments. Now, I've actually gone for someone that did sacrifice themselves, and that is Kratos. So the end of God of War 3, he's standing there on top of the mountain, he's wreaked havoc upon the world, and he is the sole person that has hope. So what does he do? He gets the blade of Olympus, drives it through his chest to release hope across the rest of the world. Dies.
Gay.
Sacrifice himself.
Okay.
Hope back in Greece, even though everything's ruined. He's ruined everything. There's no gods left, no sea. All the sea's like rising up. There's storms everywhere, locusts ravaging the place. But hope's still there. Somehow. It's like, bro, this doesn't redeem you. You've been a nightmare. You've been an absolute nightmare. But yeah, that's our list, guys. So who do you reckon's got the best one?
I mean, there was lots of repeats throughout, wasn't there? So I think Nathan Drake features quite a lot. So he's going to be in the, if we're going to put together a master list, we're going to have Nathan Drake featuring. Ellie's got a feature. Sly Cooper's got a feature. They were the ones that sort of came to mind through multiple lists. So they're the winners, really, if we're looking at the lists. But I quite liked your end in there, Davey, with Kratos. That's a pretty obvious one. It's an actual PlayStation IP, PlayStation character, unlike some of the others that you picked out. So that one, I think, probably makes you the winner in my eyes.
Oh,
I think the Nadine shout makes you the winner, mate. The Nadine shout's really good. I didn't think about her at all.
Oh, well, thanks, guys. Well, audience, you can have the final say. Who had the best list? Or what do you think about this? Do you have any characters that fit into these categories? Let us know. Write in to the email pswetrust@gmail.com or hit us up on the socials. All links are in the description of the show. Now, without any further ado, let's move it on to what we've been playing.
This time on NPS We Trust, what have the boys been playing?
So guys, it's been 2 weeks since the last podcast episode, and I'm desperate to know what you've been up to in that time. Mr. Hoy, hopefully you've had a bit more time now to sink into Stellar Blade, as you were talking about it earlier. I'd love to hear all about it.
Why, David, you are right. I have been playing Stellar Blade, and for those who don't know what Stellar Blade is, that have lived under a rock for the last 2 to 3 weeks, Stellar Blade is the action-adventure game developed by Shift Up, published by Sony. Players take command of the protagonist Eve as she ventures out to save humanity from the relentless war waged from monstrous creatures in a distant future. So I bought the game back on release, April 26th. If my memory serves right, and it's been my sole focus over the last 2 to 3 weeks. I've been absolutely loving the game, and I've put a good couple of hours into it now. And I'm going to keep this spoiler free because the story, I could probably give it away quite quickly if I started talking about it. So I'll focus more on the combat. And I think ultimately that's probably what you two boys want to know more about. So primarily this is a third person game. The combat is focused around grasping the attack patterns of enemies and countering them with precise timings. You've got Eve's beta gauge, which is filled up by parrying and evading combat. And those skills are used for things like super armor or, special attacks that she can have, okay? She's also got a burst gauge that's filled up through successive parries and combos. And that can be used to activate buffs like charges and certain things that you'll learn throughout your progression of the game. So I've encountered a few different bosses now, which have been very, very tasty. And it's pretty obvious when you're going to sort of meet one of these new bosses because suddenly the world opens up. Like, Normally, the game, I would say so far in what I've experienced, is relatively linear. There isn't much exploration other than going slightly off-piste to be able to find a certain monster that gives you a bit more loot. But other than that, generally you're on one winding path throughout the city. But then you come up against a big kind of open area and you're like, okay, I know what's going to happen now. And it does every single time. Now, the bosses have been pretty challenging, but pretty fun at the same sort of time. And I wouldn't say they were ultimately too difficult because I am progressing through the game. And that is my famous last words, because I said it about Armored Core and I got stuck literally after I said that. So I don't want to jinx myself, and I'm touching wood as I'm giving you this little review of Stellar Blade. But I'm liking the game a lot. And I feel like it's the right mix of what you boys like within the Souls-like genre, and then the flashy combat elements of a game maybe like Devil May Cry or maybe some of the new Final Fantasy games. So that's what I'd liken it to. And I know what you're going to ask me, and I'll throw it out to questions in a minute, but I'm going to give this game a rating. I've only played a few hours, I'm a few bosses in, but I'm going to give you my rating now, and my rating is a straight 8 out of 10. I don't think it has that sort of edge to be the top tier of games, but from what I'm seeing, as I said, I'm very much enjoying and I want to spend more time in it. I'd recommend you boys picking it up because I think the combat does get super juicy as you get further into the game, especially when you start to unlock more and more of Eve's abilities, and you only do that through progressing the game and, you know, getting a little bit further into it and picking up certain items and meeting certain characters which may or may not upgrade you. So I'm keeping it as spoiler free as possible, but if there is any questions, and I'll stick everything away from the kind of story. But yeah, absolutely loving the game. 8 out of 10 so far.
Well done. No, I've got to say, I really appreciate you keeping it spoiler free, because this is one I'm going to get to before end of year. It's just finding that opportunity to be able to do it, which is the hard thing, right? Now, with the demo that we played, obviously it's the start of the game, and then it kind of ends after that first boss. You mentioned about the open world, well, it being like a kind of linear in terms of the paths that you go. Now, on the demo, if I remember rightly, I was finding different crates that then I couldn't open because I didn't have the right codes for them yet, and you find them. Have you been doing much backtracking, or does it make that quite easy in terms of being able to go back and find these things to be able to upgrade yourself further?
So far, most of the upgrades happen when you get to one of the camps. So there's like 2 or 3 different types of camps if you count the open world area that you... Again, don't want to spoil too much of the story, but there's a certain part which is a bit more open world than the rest of it, okay? But the first part of the game is linear, and each time that you visit the camps, you have the option to sort of upgrade. But I haven't personally been backtracking. I've just been trying to do as much within the game as I've been progressing through. I think I'm probably going to run this 2 or 3 times to actually get the most out of this game. But ultimately, I'm just gonna push through, find out the story, and see what all those bosses are about, because that is the best bit of the game, really.
Nice. And there is a New Game Plus mode, isn't there? So at least you've got that
yeah.
opportunity to be able to go back and do that then, which is really hype.
Mm.
Spence, have you got any questions you want to ask about Stellar Blade?
Just the one, my friend. It's the one on everyone's mind, I think. What outfit are you wearing, Phil?
Oh, there's been a range of different outfits. So I've got different color options for the standard jumpsuit that you sort of pick up straight away. But there are some very tasty outfits. But there is one that I've been looking out for and I haven't found yet. And it's the bear outfit. Have you seen that one online?
No.
Bear?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's like a fluffy bear or like a teddy bear that she gets to wear. Or is that a panda? Looks absolutely ridiculous, and that's what I need when my wife to be comes in the room, because Eve looks a particular way and I very much don't need her to look that way.
But I'll tell you what, I'm looking at the bear right now. Why does she still look bad as hell? That's crazy. That was an amazing outfit, but she pulls it off somehow.
Mate, they all do it, man. Any of these sexy, fake Korean-made women, they could just make whatever look good. Put her in a bin bag, mate, and that'd be the best looking goddamn bin bag you've ever seen in your life. You start seeing them sold in Primark, bro. It'd be wild. Absolutely wild. But no, mate, I'm really glad to hear it. And, an 8 out of 10 is not a bad score at all. It seems to be much in line with the kind of Metacritic score for it. So it seems like a game that isn't going to, really blow anyone away, but at the same time, a great experience. And for yourself, who knows, man, by the end of this, after you've done your 3rd run and, you're absolutely cracked on the sticks and pulling up all this crazy shit, you may then at that point think, oh, maybe I'm ready. Maybe I'm ready for that boss on Armored Core. And you can go back and smoke him, bro. Who knows? This could be the start of, like, it'd be like an anime season, you know? Like, this is your kind of training arc before you get in and fight this Armored Core boss. And then it's then when you realize that then you've got like 20 more Armored Core bosses and they actually start getting hard. And then you have to find something else to do because God knows what you're going to do at that point. But Spence, you and me have been playing the same game. So we had a game that, well, actually, I might as well just hand it straight over to you because this was the game that I think you originally were the one that put this on my radar in the first place. So do you want to spill your guts, mate? Get everything out there.
Oh, yeah, sure. So the game Davey is alluding to is Crow Country. This game was developed and published by SFB Games and released on the 9th of May. It is fantastic. It's just old school survival horror with a PS1 art style, kind of like Final Fantasy VII original. It works really well. There are some brilliant things about it. There's maybe one downside to it. I guess I could just talk about it really, can't I? Because it's not story for the game. I think the game's brilliant, but the enemies are shit. Like, really, really, really shit. It's just generic kind of... They're not zombies, like in Resident Evil. They range from all types of things. So you have the guest, who is just a normal transformed person. And then they range from that into giant skeletal beings. Spindles, I think they're called. And it's just... It's more scary than difficult, I think. The enemies are there to kind of frighten you rather than to give you a challenge. But I think it works really well. The story ties it all together brilliantly. And it's just a phenomenal experience. I could give a rating if you like, but I think I'll pass it over to you, Davey, first.
Yeah, I mean, Crow Country, after you put it on my watch list, it was just one of those things that I was just really looking forward to this year. And you know what it's like with the indies. Most of the time, to be fair to indies, most of the time they bang. Very rare that I play an indie game and I'm like, oh, actually, this could really use a little bit more polish here or there. With Crow Country, as you said, it's got two very minor issues in terms of the game's really simple. It's really easy to play. In terms of it's like, you've got a lot of heals, you've got a lot of ammo. You could really just go to town, you could go to war, all you want in this game, and there'd be no problem with doing so. The issue with playing like that is that you have to engage in the combat, and the combat sucks balls. The combat's really bad. It's not satisfying whatsoever, but it kind of makes the rest of it shine a little bit more because you don't want to fight because it's not engaging to do so, and it uses resources, so you just run, and there's just so much fucking fun in dodging stuff. And even though it's easy, it is really satisfying when you weave your way through an entire area and dodge everything and murk around all the little obstacles that put in your way. And that is super satisfying. And ultimately, it is an old school survival horror. So what does that mean for the audience? Well, that means really that you've got a shitload of puzzles in your way and you've got to solve them. And one puzzle will lead to another puzzle, which will then lead to a different area and a different puzzle, which then you will come to that solution later down the road. So it's as much about managing your memory and your layout of the map as well as it is about anything else. And it does that style of survival horror, like a classic Resident Evil style, to perfection. Literally to perfection. The puzzles are immense. They run the gambit from being really simple, some of them, to then being really complicated. There's quite a few that you definitely will need a notepad and pen. We're talking like Dino Crisis levels. Some of them are really tricky. And they're super rewarding. And there's, on every single one that I was stuck on for about a minute or so. I don't think it was any that I was really stuck on for a long period. Maybe like, there's one which is a train puzzle that I was stuck on for a while. For a while there, for like no reason whatsoever. It's really simple. My brain just was not figuring it out. There's just that aha moment that just kicks in all throughout this game. And it just never fails to disappoint in that area. And that is what the majority of it is. But where Crow Country bucks the trend from survival horror is that it provides a story which is actually fucking great. Like, I'm not even overplaying that. The story is actually phenomenal. And it's one of those rare games that when you finish it, you play another round through and you pick up on so much more that you didn't before, that you overlooked. And it just really opens your mind into how well written this entire game is. And it is honestly so well written. It's one of the best survival horror stories I've ever played. I mean, the only one I think that potentially has it running is maybe like Silent Hill 1 and 2, in terms of running for like a really like original great story. I think apart from that, I can't think of anything that's kind of better than it. I really can't. Like, Resident Evil's never had a strong story. Like, as much as we enjoy it, you're not in it for the story. You're in it for what happens in the gameplay is what gets you. Whereas Crow Country comes in with gameplay and a really great story. But before we go to ratings, Phil, have you got any questions or anything that you want to speak about? I'm sure that Crow Country is something that you'll probably get to later on this year.
Yeah, definitely. Especially after that sort of stellar review. And I did also watch your independent review out on YouTube, and I give you a shout on Twitter earlier. And of course, this was a post release review, because you didn't get a code, did you, for Crow Country or anything like that?
Well, I did, but the issue is they sent it to me the day of release. So it's like, what was I supposed to do?
Bastards.
So yeah, so a load of other content creators got it early, and I think it's actually my fault. So I think I applied to the wrong place for my code, because I wanted to get it out and have the review out for day one. And so yeah, I think it was on me. But they did send one through, and it's like, okay, cool. I mean, I was just about to buy it, so it's like, all right, well, thanks, I guess. But I was like, well, I gotta make sure I cover it now and put some shine on it. And yeah, it just turns out it's fucking great. So if you want this, Phil, I was going to put my money up for it. I'm more than happy to buy it for you, because I wanted to. Generally what I do whenever I get given a code, like I'm thinking about Tormented Souls or Lost Soul. What was that? What was that other game? Oh, a game that came out
White
last
Day,
year.
wasn't it?
There's White Day, and there's another one that I played as well. I can't remember what it's called now.
I remember the other one. It was like a Returnal-esque.
Yeah. For any of these games, I generally buy them after, because I don't like just having things for free. I quite like just being able to support the developer, especially if it's good. You know, if it's shit, I wouldn't bother. But if it's something that's really good, I feel like, oh, well, I want to make sure that they don't lose out on that sale that I would have provided for them, you know? So I'm more than happy to buy this for you, my friend. Just let me know whenever you're ready, and I'll put the money up, because they deserve a purchase on this. They really do. So if you want it, just let me know.
I mean that's a super kind offer, but maybe we can talk about even giving it away on the show. You know, I'd be all right to do a purchase myself. It's obviously come across very well from your independent review and what you guys have been saying now. So I will be buying it anyway. So if you do have a free one going, maybe we could even give it to one of our listeners if they are interested. But we'll work that out after the show. But my question, and it's a two-parter really. You talk a little bit about, you know, the atmosphere that's created within Crow Country and how that can be a little bit more scary than maybe the enemies. But, you know, people out there, some look at survival horror and they think that's not for me. Now, is Crow Country a good jumping in point for someone who's not familiar with the genre? Because lots of references, you're throwing out Silent Hill, you're talking about Resident Evil, and you're saying, yes, that bit's from there, yes, that's bits from there. But if I'm new to the genre, I wouldn't understand that. Now, is a Crow Country an easy game to get grips to? And is it scary? Could it put me off survival horror, this type of game?
Spence, why don't you take this first?
Yeah, sure. So I wouldn't say it's scary for one. I think there's moments to have you kind of like, oh, but rather not, you're not shitting your pants. You're just a bit like, oh, just better get out the way. That's it. There's never moments where you actually cack yourself.
So there's jump scares in it, isn't there?
I wouldn't really even call them jump scares. There's like little ones. I never really got frightened by this game.
Now, Spence, I don't want you to be a man here. Just be honest. Was there jump scares?
I wouldn't call them jump scares. They're so like small.
Mate, I cacked myself a few times, dude. Like, you know those things that come out the grates every now and again? Like those like big long worm things, dude? Freaked me out. On my first run, you know when you come out of the save room for the first time and that like grate falls off and bugs crawl out? Jumped a mile on my first run. And that fucking vampire dude, when you look in and he pops up after, got me.
That
Oh, mate,
scared
got
you.
me. Yeah, got me. Yeah, I was like, oh, shit. I had my headphones on. They're on loud. And he was like, oh, and I was like, oh, God. Mate, I jumped a mile, bro.
Because it's not the most realistic game. Obviously, I've seen it on the previews and I've seen it within your review. Now, does it not being realistic kind of remove an element of fear within the game? The more realistic ones, I could see someone coming into a survival horror and being like, wow, that's too realistic for me. I could be that person. Now, where does the scary element come from within this game, Spence?
I think I kind of disagree with what you just said. Anyway, I think most people fear the unknown. So when things aren't like real life, that's when you're truly frightened. Or in my opinion, anyway. But I don't know. It's just the atmosphere of Crow Country, the place you're in. It is a frightening place. Something's happened. You don't know what. You think, is it going to happen to me? Fuck that. There are moments where it tries to frighten you, but it's not that scary. I'd say it's survival horror on baby mode. I think is the best way to word it. Really.
So it is or isn't it a good place to jump in if you're not familiar with the genre, if you're not familiar with your Resident Evils, your Silent Hills, if you're not used to, checking every corridor, every nook and cranny for extra ammo or a spare key, or you don't wander over to something that's gleaming, you obviously don't see that within a room. Some people would just miss that naturally. Is that the right place to start a Crow Country, or would you say go back to a Silent Hill, go back to a Resident Evil first, learn about these, unique things that are, attached to the genre of survival horror first, and then you could appreciate it more when you come to Crow Country?
See, it's quite hard to say because that's my experience with it. But from my lens looking at it, it seems like it might be the best place to start. Because it's survival horror simplified to its like most base form. There are all these puzzles. There is resource management, but not really. You don't actually have to worry about your resources. I never really worried about them. And the puzzles aren't that difficult. They're morely just fun and interesting rather than being challenging. So I'd say it's probably a really good place for people to start, but that is from a survival horror veteran. So I can't say it's with honesty.
Anything else to add to that one, Davey?
Yeah, I think it's definitely the best place to start. I think it really is like a gateway survival horror title because what it does is it's got a couple of systems built into it to help players along, which you just don't see really in the genre. So the first is if you are scared of enemies or you want to just be able to have an exploration, enjoy the story, and be along for the ride and solve the puzzles, then you could play in exploration mode. And so that removes any of the survival horror aspects of it. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but it's there for those that want that experience. So I think that's a really nice way to be able to start and to get used to how puzzles work and how, you move around the map and all that stuff. But also what the game has, it's got a tip system. So when you go in, you've got 10 credits that you can use in the tips. And they're like a little penguin machine. You can go over and like put a coin in. And he pops up and he'll tell you something about either where you need to go. Or, for example, you might use a tip and you might say, this door is flammable. And so you think, okay, right, I know how to get through that door now. Whereas I didn't before. Or he might say, oh, the item that you're looking for, it's in this place. And so he'll tell you exactly what you need. So it means that, say, for example, somebody takes a couple of weeks off, they come back to Crow Country and they think, fuck, I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what's going on. It's amazing because you can go straight over there, spend that money on that tip, and go. And then you're back straight on the formula again. And that's a fantastic addition. And it means that if people get stuck or they don't like these things and they find themselves get lost quite often, you've got something to back you up if you want to use that.
Yeah, I really appreciate all those sort of quality of life things that are being, starting to creep into games more and more. And one of the things I also picked up from reading a little bit of Crow Country is that you don't have to use tank controls. You can use a modern control system. So if something like a tank control system that, was famous in this genre, puts you off, you don't need to use that, do you?
That's exactly right, yeah. So you've got on the D-pad, if you choose to go there, that's your tank controls. So that is very like taking it back to like classics in the genre. Whenever, do you know what, weirdly enough, muscle memory, whenever I play a survival horror, I always go to the D-pad. Or just instinctively just go to the D-pad first. and just have a look, because I'm so used to, like, it's just ingrained in me, I suppose, from classic RE. And when I was playing Silent Hill recently for review, I'm playing that with a PlayStation 5 controller on PC and doing that all on D-pad. And just like, yeah, it just feels natural, just feels right. If I do it on the analog, I'm like, oh, I don't really like this. And so Crow Country gives you both options. So D-pad is tank, and modern controls is on the analog, which is just great. You know, it means that you can make it as kind of as classic as you want it to be, but it doesn't force that on you. And that's the same with the tip system. You know, it's one of those things that it's there for the players that need it. But if you don't need it, then it means you're going to benefit from a better score at the end. So there's like a reward for not using it, which, you know, it's just great game design, in my opinion. But in terms of ratings, let's round this off. Spence, give me your ratings. Where are you going with this?
See, I want to give it a half point as well, but I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. And I think it deserves better than that. I'm not going to lie. I was going to say like 8.6, but I don't think this is a must-play game. I think this is a game you should play, but it's not an essential one. I think it's fantastic. Everyone who does play it will adore it, but it's not like a genre-defining game. So I can't, in good conscience, give it a 9, but it definitely deserves the 8.
Yeah. I think when I was thinking back about a game that's a similar scope, actually, well, it's a bigger team that made it than this is. This is a 2-man job. But I was thinking about Tormented Souls and what did I give that? And I think I rated that somewhere around about an 8 or a 9, I think. I know I loved it. And I went that high because I just loved the puzzles, and that game had big issues compared to this. But I think for this, I'm going to go settle on an 8.5 is where I would go for this. I don't think it is a 9. I think we give so many games, or I personally have given so many games 9 out of 10. And I don't think it's at that level. But it is a really fucking good game. And I would say it's well worth your time. You know, 5 hours to play it through. Say even if you took your time with it, and maybe you got 6 hours out of it, I think that's way worth the price of admission. And for how charming it is, and how much it does right, I think that's a good place to put it. That's, I think, where I'm going to sell it.
I just had a quick look on Metacritic because we tend to refer back to these scores quite often these days. It actually got a generally favourable score of 85, so dead on what you're saying there, Davey, with your 8.5. But the one that sticks out to me is IGN gave it a 9 out of 10. So they were very positive on this one. Yeah.
Wow, it's unlike IGN. Jesus.
Maybe the protagonist in this one isn't as sexy as Eve.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, she's 17.
Yeah, that is also true. But, you know, it's legal in some places. Too young for us lads. Don't know about,
it's legal here.
It is legal here. I mean, you're a nonce, so if you went for 17-year-old.
It's icky though, isn't it?
Mank.
It's icky.
Yeah, it's mank. So if one of you lads came out, I mean, Spence, it would be a little bit more acceptable for you at your age. But even then...
It couldn't be Phil.
No. It couldn't be Phil.
Midlife crisis, 40 and dating a 20-year-old. Or someone later.
17, bro.
17. Wow.
Jesus Christ. No, that's just mank. I'd have words. If
I couldn't do it now, that's 9 years difference. I couldn't do that.
No, that's bad, innit? That's bad. Oh, no way, mate. Just got a nappy.
It's only bad until you turn up with a 19-year-old. And then it's acceptable.
Then it's fine, yeah. Then it's absolutely fine.
Then it's fine, completely fine. Nothing weird about that.
Well, with that bombshell, I think it's time that we end playing and let's move it on to the quick news. Quick news.
Quickety quick news. Welcome listeners, welcome viewers, and thank you very much for sticking through the first part of the show and making your way, all the way actually, to quick news. Now, generally, we like to spice things up when we get to this part of the show, and I like to put the boys on the spot and we play some little games before we introduce you to the latest and greatest of the PlayStation news that we've cherry-picked for you, and we've got some incredible stuff today, so stick with it. So the game we're going to play today, we're going to do a repeat, we're going to run it back from last episode, we're going to continue with the word association, and the order that we're going in this week is the order that I have in Riverside in front of me. So I'm going to start with Spencer. It's going to go over to Davey, and then it's going to come back round to me. And then if someone stumbles, if they take a couple of seconds, they can't get the words out, then they get a shot in the dog. Or if they just plain can't think of anything else. So for example, we did cereals, or we talked about cereals last time, and Davey went through Sugar Puffs, he went through Weetabix, and then he got to the third one and just couldn't name a third breakfast. So we're not gonna do breakfast. I'm not gonna put you on the spot with that one. So this week, Spence,
Thank God.
get your thinking hat on, because we're going on a trip around Europe, and I'm saying countries in Europe.
France,
Spain,
The UK,
Germany,
Portugal.
Belgium.
Portugal. Oh, someone said Portugal, didn't they?
Yeah. If you repeat, that's it.
I went Port, and I realised I was like,
I can't save it. Puerto Rico. That's not in the EU.
That was a poor attempt, boys. That was poor. We literally named
Mate.
9 countries or even 6 countries that
It
are
was
basically
less,
right next to
yeah.
us.
we named 6,
Yeah.
I think, but my geography is my weakest subject, I think. So, it's fine. I'm happy to lose that one.
Shot in the dock for Spencer, and you can start us off with some quick news.
Quick news. So, lads, listeners, I am back again with the new edition for PlayStation Plus game catalogue for May. And the games this time are as follows. So we start with a big hitter, Red Dead Redemption 2 for the PS4. On to Deceive Inc. for the PS5. The Sims 4 City Living, PS4. Crime Boss Rocky City, PS5. The Settlers New Allies, PS4. Stranded Alien Dawn, PS4, PS5. Cat Quest, PS4. Cat Quest 2, PS4. The Lego Movie 2 video game, PS4. Watch Dogs, PS4. And we have some premium classics. The premium classics are 2 Extreme, PS4, PS5. G-Police, PS4, PS5. And Worms Pinball, PS4, PS5. So that is our monthly games for the month of May. Lads, what do you think? Any of these stand out to you? Phil, I'll give it across to you first.
Okie doke. Well, I've picked out a few, and I've picked out a few Metacritic scores, because the big ticket item here is Red Dead Redemption, and it is a game I've never actually played for my sins. It's scored 95. That is an incredible Metacritic score. I think it's one of the top 10 games out there that you must play. So maybe, just maybe, I might dig into a little bit of Red Dead Redemption, but I know it's a beast. So that might put me off with the amount of games that are racking up. I've just got another one after our intro with Crow Country to add to my expanding back catalogue of games I need to get through. But Red Dead Redemption is definitely up there. The other ones that stick out to me, of course, is the Cat Quest 1 and 2, because I'm a big fan of that genre. It looks very, very interesting. And I'm always looking for little titles that I can play on my PS Portal. And I was very interested with the announcement of Cat Quest 3, because that looks super cute and it looked like a bit of me. But the one, Spence, and I don't subscribe to the premium service, so I'm a little bit gutted with this one, and I don't actually own this on the PS1, but I remember owning it back in the day after my dad sold a bunch of our PlayStation games, and I curse him every time I think about this. I loved, and my brother loved, G-Police. What a fantastic game that was. And I remember I was on Twitter, as I spent most of my time, and someone mentioned that they had a copy of G-Police, and it was crazily expensive for them to get hold of, and quite difficult, actually. I don't think it was a very popular game back in the day, but it was one of the ones that I remember getting from our local rental store and then ending up buying it, which was quite rare for me and my brother, because we, of course, had the CD-ROM copier that we could burn on. So this was a game that we held in high regard back in the day. So that would be one I would love to revisit. But unfortunately, I'm not on the big boy service like Davey. So I might have to come around yours, Davey, and play a bit of G-Police. Would you be up for that?
I tell you what, I definitely would. And this is the game for me. Like, I have every game on this list. G-Police, I popped off when I saw G-Police, not going to lie. And I was shit at it when I was a kid. I remember I only got to like level 2. And it's solid. If I remember right, it's really hard. Like, I can't remember if it's on the PS Classic. I think it might be. I'm not sure. But I remember playing this, like, not that long ago. Like, maybe 10, 15 years ago. Which I suppose is a long time in reality. But when you think back to PS1, you know, it's a drop in the ocean. I played this and I still had the same issue. It might even be over our mate Big Dog's house, because I'm sure he had G-Police. Anyway, wherever I played it recently in the last 2 decades, it was hard then. And it wasn't just because I was a kid playing it. So I want to go back and see if I can actually do something on this, and I want to know what the platinum rate will be, because I never thought about G-Police. I haven't thought about it for years. Super happy to see it here. This is a classic game, and it's something that anyone growing up with a PlayStation 1, they know G-Police. Everyone seems to know about it. So I'll be amazed if it didn't sell well, because everyone knew it. So it'd be like that LAPD game as well, where you walk around on a bipedal mech.
That was cool
shooting
as
stuff.
well, yes.
That was a great game. That was a great game back in the day. Yeah, super happy with this. And I'm kind of copy and fill here for the most part with this entire list, because Red Dead Redemption 2 is the big ticket item, 100%. And it's a game that I feel guilty that I haven't played, because everyone does say it's the best game on PS4, right? Obviously, we always say it's Last of Us 2, but the populist opinion is Red Dead 2. And it's apparently the best open world game ever. It's amazing. It's all singing, all dancing. The quest system is apparently incredible. All this stuff. The thing that scares me is that it's a 100+ hour game. And I'm struggling enough with FF7 at the moment. I've been putting off Red Dead Redemption 2 since its release because of how long it is. So I can't see that changing right now. I would need to have just a moment where I retire, or I'm really ill for an extended period and I'm just off work. Then I'd be able to get to this. But super happy for those that have the time. If you're a kid and you just got the service, this is like Christmas come early, this. This would keep you quiet for at least a month.
You need to break a bone to be off work for that amount of hours to be able to play this game. Maybe you should throw yourself down the stairs. That's not advice to our listeners or viewers, but I've heard that's a way to get an extended period of time off work. There was a guy around Caldecott who used to boast about this in the pubs. He used to come in with a crutch. He was fine, but he said he used to throw himself down the stairs so he could get on the sick. So maybe try that.
Well, the problem is, Phil, I've got some experience in this domain going to stairs. So when we were in on your stag do, I bailed over on a little lip and I think I broke a rib, right? No time off work for a rib, so I need to make sure it was a leg, really, don't I?
You do.
And the problem is, with working from home in our jobs, a broken leg doesn't really stop you typing on a keyboard, does it?
No.
So I think I'd still be in work. I'd need to catch something that's just kind of fucks me up, but I'm still able to game and still have the motivation to game. So something like skin cancer, Something that's it's enough time for you to get off work, but generally you got a high survival rate with skin cancer. So I could be off for a while, milk it a little bit, I'd be like, I just got cancer. Don't you tell them what type. And they'd be like, it's just a mole that they got to cut out or something. It's like a day job. At least 6 months off with that. No questions asked. So if you phoned them up and said cancer, they'd be like, fuck. They wouldn't be like, oh, which type? No. Take as long as you need. Thanks, mate.
They definitely can't ask any questions as soon as you say the C words, but my brain's going round and I'm thinking that would make a great top 5, wouldn't it? Top 5 diseases you could get away with, or injuries that you could get away with for an extended period of time off work so you could play video games. Because of course I do a minor channel, and here's my little plug, because I've been doing little videos from time to time, little minute long videos, and I've been going down the track of doing Helldivers and picking out top 5s around there. But maybe I should do one on, problems that you could have but you could still play games. Listeners, viewers, if you've got any diseases, problems, issues that you could suggest to make that top 5, what is the best thing that got you some time off work where you could complete some games? Because we really, both me and Davey, we really want to play Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, we need the time off. And to be fair, if you've got a way to get around it so I don't actually have to catch something or get a disease, but I can get off work for an extended period of time, let me know. I don't want to use the mental health one. Mental health's the easy one, and it's stress. Oh, I'm stressed. But then, then you're never going to get a job opportunity because everyone's like, oh, you get stressed. Whereas if you're like, yeah, riddled with AIDS, no one's going to be like, well, you can't go for this job now you got AIDS. But I understand that you're going to need to take some time off for this. Yeah.
It's not going to get... AIDS isn't going to get better.
No, but they can.
And I'm
keep
sure
it
there
under-
are
AIDS
jobs
in-
that you can't have AIDS with. Anything to do with blood.
Blood bank, definitely. Not. Yeah, blood bank's way out. You can't be doing that. Not a riddle with AIDS.
You got AIDS? Yeah, get in there.
Yeah. Maybe you get promotion if you got AIDS working in the blood bank. 'Cause you can't work on the blood bank anymore. So you got to do admin now. So now maybe you're a manager.
You just got to sit in the office. You're not allowed.
Yeah.
Not allowed where they store the blood.
Nowhere near it.
No.
Nowhere near it. You permanent work from home if you got AIDS in the blood bank job. So
Wow.
think about that. If you work in the blood bank, want to work from home all the time, but they're mandating you 2 days in the office, maybe consider AIDS. I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
Spence, what games are you thinking from this list, fam? What's standing out to you?
Well, yeah, to get back on topic, I suppose. For one, Red Dead 2 can suck it. Not a chance I'm playing that. I'm sure it's phenomenal. I've heard it's brilliant. No one has that time, especially not nowadays. I actually have that time. I will spend it elsewhere. I am not using it on Red Dead 2, not any shot. The game that actually I am keen for from this list is Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs 1. I bought it on release on Steam and I beat it that day, and I love Watch Dogs 1. I think it's a great game. A lot of people hated on it because it was so different from the E3 trailer that they were blinded by it. They didn't actually just appreciate the game they were playing. And I think it's a really good game, and I'd love to get back to it and maybe go for a cheeky platinum.
Oh, nice. Fair play. I didn't take you for much of a Watch Dogs guy. Did you ever go and visit any of the other ones? The second one was supposed to be great. Don't know if you ever checked it out or not.
Yeah, I played Watch Dogs 2 on PC as well. I never finished it in the end, but I think I got like 80 or 90% through the game. I don't know why I didn't finish it, but I adored that game as well. That game's brilliant too. It's just Watch Dogs 1, but more. So it's just great. I really like the idea of the games. The hacking's cool, the combat's cool, the stealth elements are sick, and the way you can just alter the world as you're going through it is sick. I think it's such a great idea. I love those games.
Oh, fantastic, mate. Glad to hear it. Absolutely glad. And we learn something new every day, don't we? I didn't take you for a watchdog, but now I know.
Yeah, I'm watching dog. All right, moving on.
Yeah, we'll keep that in, definitely in the edit, and get one of those tumbleweeds to come through on the screen.
Nah, it's all right. I'll edit quickly, lads. It's fine. It's fine. I'll edit this. It's fine. It's fine. So moving on, passing it round to yourself, Davey, I think. Your category, my friend. Brands of soft drink.
Coke.
Lucasade.
Fanta.
Powerade.
Pepsi.
Tango.
Oh!
Dr. Pepper. Oh, I was close.
7-Up.
Does that count?
Does count. Lilt.
Sprite.
Rubicon.
Ooh, that's fire. That's fire. Vimto.
Panda Pop.
Capri Sun.
That's more of a juice, but
That's a juice, isn't it?
it is a juice.
Surely. It's not a soft drink. Don't be like soft drink. Oh, yeah, okay, Capri Sun out.
I've worked in Waitrose and Summerfield, thank you very much. And where does Capri Sun live? It lives with a soft drink, so go fuck yourself. Next.
That's crazy. Shit, okay. Fuck. Yeah, I don't know. I'm done. That's thrown me off because I thought I'd win. I thought Phil would lose. So I lost track.
I'm not feeling that.
You didn't know my history, Spence. You didn't see my full CV.
Is Capri Sun a soft drink?
It's not hard drink, mate.
Give it a Google, mate. I would say it's a juice drink. Same way that if somebody had answered with orange juice, I'd be like, ain't a fucking soft drink.
Is a brand of juice concentrate based drinks manufactured by the German company Wild and regional licensees.
So soft.
I'm putting it down as Phil loss.
I think it's a Davey loss, actually, because how long did he take with that one?
Oh, he took long.
He took a long time, didn't he?
but
So don't fire shots my way. People in glass houses, you know what I'm saying?
I should learn from last time, really, and just keep my nose out, but I can't help it. I just can't help it. Spence, you get to decide. Personally, I think Phil lost it. I don't think it counts as a soft drink. Because otherwise I would just be funny and be like, water. lives on the soft drink aisle.
Not a soft drink, though, is it? Water? Capri Sun is.
It's the softest of all drinks.
Capri Sun
Yeah,
is
what
right
do you
next to
mean?
Coke and Lilt and all those drinks. They're in the
And the
same
orange
fridge.
juice.
They're not.
And the apple
They're further
juice. I'm saying it's a hard no. Spence, you can decide.
Well, I'm obviously going to say Phil lost because otherwise it's me and I've already lost the first round. So I'm going to have to say Phil lost. Plus, we were both like, Capri Sun? Really?
Doesn't sit right with me, that. I wouldn't be able to forgive myself if we let that go. I'd listen back to that in the episode and I'd be like,
You know, like in The Walking Dead, at the games, where it says like Clementine will remember that? That's just happened to Phil. I saw it happen. It's just Phil will remember this. Wait for the next
100%.
category from Phil now.
Come on, then. Let's do something, that only I know about. Or actually, something that me and Spencer know about, yeah. We'll just do computer components. Davey knows about three.
oh God. If that. Keyboard, would you count that?
Peripheral.
It's a peripheral, yeah.
The A key, the B key. Bro, I can go all day.
Peripheral.
24 rounds. Right, quick news. So we got some pretty interesting news. We were expecting this to happen at some point, but I got to say I wasn't expecting it this week. And that was that, obviously, with Jim Ryan stepping down and retiring, God bless Jim, thank you for your service, we now have two, so not one, but two people that are leading PlayStation going forward. The first will be a name that will be familiar to all of you, I imagine, and that's Herman Holst. So Herman Holst, for those that don't know, he was the head guy over at Guerrilla, and then he went on to be like managing partnerships across PlayStation, so like working with the studios and kind of managing them. And now he's stepping up into like that kind of CEO position, so really well done. And the second one, and this guy is new to me, I didn't know this guy, Hideki Nishino. So, I've got the actual, the blog post here from Horoki Totoki, our main guy, the good old money man himself, Horoki. And this is what is said on here. So, I'm going to read this out verbatim. It's not actually very much, but I think it's quite nice. So, this message was sent to Sony Interactive Entertainment employees on May 13th, on the day of this news breaking. So, it brings me great pleasure to announce that I've decided on the succession strategy for the role of CEO at SIE. Over the last decade, SIE has grown tremendously, building upon our continuous successes in hardware, software, and services through a sharper focus on player engagement. To continue this growth and momentum, we are moving forward with a new management structure for SIE. Effective June 1st, Hideki Nishino will be appointed CEO of SIE's Platform Business Group, and Herman Holst will be appointed CEO of SIE's Studio Business Group. Effective the same date, I will step down from my current role as interim CEO and become chairman of SIE, in addition to my roles at SGC. Both Herman and Nishino-san will report to me as SIE chairman. Nishino will continue his role leading the Platform Experience Group, overseeing technology, products, services, and platform experience. He will also oversee third-party publisher and developer relations and commercial operations, including sales and marketing of hardware, services, and peripherals. Herman will continue to lead the SIE Studios business, including PlayStation Studios, Bungie, and PlayStation Productions. He'll be responsible for the development, publishing, and business operation of SIE's first-party content, as well as IP expansion opportunities through PlayStation Productions. Later this month, you will learn more about the long-term vision for Sony Group and the essential role SIE plays in that vision. Wada. So guys, what are your thoughts about this monumental news for the PlayStation brand? Phil, I'm going to come across to you first, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. So when I first read this, I was thinking, Horoki Totoki, the man, the boy, cracking that money whip. He's done pretty well for himself, hasn't he? So he stepped in when PlayStation's at an all-time high, taken over for a little bit, and now employed two other people to do his job where he's the boss. Well done. Perfect move. He is so strategic. Surely he should be the head of strategy because he's just played the game to perfection. So hats off to Horoki Totoki. And I want to take a leaf out of his book in my professional life. And I'm going to worm my way in and then make that move just like he's done because well done. He's probably taken home a fat bag, that boy. But having it split between Herman Holst and the Shido-san, it makes complete sense to me because those are the experts in those areas. But throughout your little your intro there, Davey, reading from the blog post, Nishida-san, he seems to have a long list of responsibilities. Then Herman Holst kind of has a shorter list, but arguably, I suppose, that's where the more focus is needed over the next couple of years and generations with PlayStation because of the market that we're in currently. And PlayStation's known for games. The focus on games is what we need to be looking at, and that really needs someone heading us up in the right direction. When it comes to the hardware, it's always been reliable with Sony, in my opinion. Software, been a bit iffy. So Herman Holst, let's see what you got, but very good news. I like the way he set it up.
Nice. What about yourself, Spence? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think for one, Phil, you've smashed it. You are right. Totoki just absolutely biffed his way through this, and he is smashing it. He's come up with the best idea, maybe. The joint CEOs is not something I thought we would ever see, and it's not something I ever really just thought about. You just have a CEO, typically, don't you? So I never even thought of this being a possibility. But Herman Holst, trust him with my freaking life. So that's fine. I know he's going to do well. Nishino-san, complete blur to me. So hopefully this is a good move. I think it is a good move ultimately. But do I think Sony will really shake up from this? Will it change too much? I can't imagine it. I think they're mainly just going to follow the proven path and hopefully just do good at their job. That's all I ask.
Well, I'm going to kind of follow alongside suit from both of you guys. I think this is really, really smart business play. You know, you get two people, as Phil said, that know their sides of the business really well. And the difficulty would be if you had one CEO who really knows one side of the business really well, the business can end up veering off that way. Whereas at least with both of them, you get a nice balance between the two, which is great. You know, that's fantastic news. And I do like how Nishino-san's whole role is overseeing third-party publisher and developer relations as well. So that means that Herman's sole focus is on growing the PlayStation brand from its studios outwards. So it means that we're going to be seeing more and more of these opportunities for the Last of Us TV show or the God of War TV show, the Horizon one that's being pitched around as well. These kind of things are just going to continue to go. Twisted Metal, of course, being another one. These things are going to continue to build to grow the IP outside of gaming. But it also means that hopefully with Herman being able just to be... The buck always stopped with him. You know, he was the one managing the studios, but now he's got that. There's somebody else going to be doing his job, I imagine, his old job, and he's then overseeing that. So it's like you've got just an extra layer of management and focus to make sure that these snafus that we've had with the likes of Bungie and with all the problems we've seen across the studios with Naughty Dog, with factions and everything, that hopefully this will be something that's a thing of the past and they can really streamline this machine and get this really moving. That's my kind of hope with it.
I think the beauty with Herman is that he's a known name as well. You know, that's a big positive coming into this uncertainty that we have at the moment within the future of gaming. Consider all the things that are going on crazy over in Xbox, and you know, things are a little uncertain over here in PlayStation as well. So to have that kind of main focus of someone that has that great pedigree, as you've mentioned with Herman, I think it holds a lot of kind of respect for everybody. We can respect him immediately, can't we? We can put our bread in his basket.
100%, yeah. I think it's nice to be able to have a face for when they come out on a showcase that you think, oh, nice, okay, they're there, right? And we don't have too many anymore. Shuhei isn't really being seen as much as he used to in the past for the start of the PS4 generation. So really, Herman is just great, you know? I mean, the guy just kicked ass when he was over in Guerrilla. And so to be able to have that guy who's just created, in my opinion, some of the best games that PlayStation have ever really done in terms of the Killzone series I adored, Horizon's great, and then to go on from that to be able to then step into this role and help other studios to be able to manage their projects and get things out the door, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So it's just one of those faces that you know now when we get the next State of Play or whatever it is, that you'll have Herman come out. I imagine it would be Herman leading that. Who knows? Maybe it's Nishino-san as well. But it'd be nice to put a face to the name now. But I want to see Horoki, mate. I want to see Horoki come in. I want him to come out with the fucking Vince McMahon music behind him, swagging out, bro, with just a cane, money flying everywhere out of his pockets, and some assistant picking it all up behind him because he doesn't waste no fucking money. This guy, so I want to see Big Boss fucking Big Boss coming out, bro.
I was going to say it was going to be like good cop, bad cop between Herman and Nishido-san when they come out. You know, Herman will be giving us the good, Nishido will be giving us a little bad, and then they'll switch it up, and then you won't know who's the bad guy, who's the good guy. And then Horoki Totoki's just sat there on a gold throne. Just, yeah, boys, pulling the strings like this. I'm still in charge.
He's like, he's the secret boss. You come out of a boardroom meeting, you just come out with Herman and Nishino-san, you're like, oh, thank God that's over. And then the door just boots down. No chance in hell. And it's just fucking Horoki Totoki, bro. Coming in, swinging the fucking cane.
The final boss, Horoki Totoki.
Oh, man. Legends. But yeah, we'll have to see how things unfold. But it does, anytime you get a big change like this, there are going to be changes that will be felt all across PlayStation Nation. These things do not happen immediately. These people need to make sure they know their job responsibilities. I'm sure they already do because of the way they've been appointed and their experience in the past. But we are going to see changes as a result of this. There's always changes whenever leadership comes in. Expect to see it in probably about 12-ish months from now at the very minimum before we start seeing the shape of where PlayStation moves forward as we kind of edge, I suppose, into talking more PS6 territory. Is where we're really going to start seeing seeing the fruits from this labor, you know? So I'm looking forward to seeing it. But Phil, back to you. And in terms of categories, I want to do things that you'd find in a bathroom.
Soap.
Toothbrush.
Shower gel.
Toilet scrubber.
Shampoo.
Shaving cream.
Shower curtain.
A razor.
Wax strips.
Toilet seat.
Conditioner.
Oh, shower.
Deodorant.
Radiator.
Radiator towel.
Tiles.
That's crazy. A sink.
A light.
A light switch.
A door handle.
A mirror.
A door.
Face scrub.
Aftershave.
Moisturizer.
I was going to say moisturizer, you know.
He's done. He's done. He's done.
Oh, he's out. He's out. He's out.
That was a good one. Well done, boys. Well done.
That was fun. It got goofy, mind. It did get goofy. Toilet paper. My bidet.
Quick news, boys. So I've got quite a short one, actually. There's not much to read about this one in the doc, but I thought I'd highlight it to you because generally this is a company that we keep a very close eye on, you know, what they're doing, what they're bringing out next. And we've gone through and sort of had our hypothetical kind of moments when we've been talking about what we're expecting from this company. So the news is that Media Molecule's next project, and here's the kicker, here's a little bit of news around it. They're going to have more of a game than a creative tool, which in my opinion is a big thumbs up. So the co-founder claims, okay guys, so we're not going to be getting Davy's hypothetical clay making game. This is going to be more of a video game as opposed to a creative tool. So we're moving away from dreams and more into, I suppose, the Little Big Planet area. Now, we had a comment on one of our past videos where we were talking about Media Molecule, and the comment was, it was just very simple, why don't they just do Little Big Planet 4? And I think that is pretty obvious. Why don't they just do that? It worked well for them, and by now they must have come up with some new ideas. And even if they do rinse and repeat, in my opinion, what they put out all those years ago, there's going to be a hint of nostalgia for people like me, people like Davey. I know you enjoyed at least Little Big Planet 1 and 2. So bring Stephen Fry back. Let's do a little bit of Little Big Planet 4 and let's see what hits. But guys, I want to throw it out to you. We've done this a few times now. Let's move it away from the Clay Fighters 4 or 8 or whatever you were talking about previously, Davey. And let's think about more of a game that they could be doing. There's a few games out there that they've made. Would you like to see an old IP re-emerge? Or would you like to see them completely go and start a brand new IP? What are you saying? Spence, I'm going to come to you first.
Sure. So, I tell you what, I adored Little Big Planet as well. I thought it was fantastic. I don't want to see it come back. because I don't want them to like do a Sackboy. I don't want a bad version of it. I don't want it to sour my nostalgia for Little Big Planet, which I feel like it would if they released a new one, unless it was exceptional. But even then, I was a kid back then, so games were always better than you remember them. I would much prefer to see a new IP and maybe just try something new. Go for a different genre. Everything's always so kid-friendly, so creative. Make a freaking like horror game. Media Molecule. Do it. Step out the box. Try something new. Just make small projects in which everyone seems like it might be good. Stick to it.
It might be new for them to try something which is very normal, wouldn't it? Because they are always so left-wing and crazy and creative. If they just did a first-person shooter, no one would expect that, would they? Why don't they just do that? Maybe that would be successful. What are you saying, Davey? Are you going new IP, or are they going to bring something back from the past?
Well, if they were going to bring anything back, they could go for Tearaway. Tearaway was great on the Vita. Really, really loved it. But I want them to come out with something new. And actually, I don't want them to do what Spencer's doing. I don't want them to do anything that's totally out of their wheelhouse. What I'd like them to do is, when I look at my PlayStation, I think I've said this a few times before. When I look at my PlayStation and my son's like, can I play? I'm very limited to what I can put him on. Very limited. All the games that are like for his age are shit. They're all like Peppa Pig game. Sure, we got the platinum on it, Spence. Class game. But it's not very good, right? Most of the kiddie games are either really low effort, like the Paw Patrol game. I played that on PlayStation Plus with Cass. Terrible. Like literally one of the worst games I've ever played in my life. It was awful. It's either that or it's Astrobot and Ratchet. Can't think of any others. Right, this entire generation. And so you think, from first party, why don't we have something else? Like we've got loads of action adventure games. We're going to have loads of first person shooters in the mix now with like Concord, Fair Games, all these. We've got, that's pretty much about it, to be fair. We've got racing games. That's about it. So there's a lot of genres they could play in. Personally, I would like a competent platformer. I would just fucking like a really competent one. Little Big Planet back in the day was great at platforming. Some of those levels were really quite difficult and they could be a bit finicky. And sure, it wasn't as smooth as Mario and it wasn't as like, you know, as enjoyable to play, I suppose, on like the moment to moment as something like Crash or Spyro. But it was really fun. It was fun to play with a group of people and to try and get through a level without dying and, you know, without throwing each other off stuff and doing all that. You could bring that kind of style back, like the same way that they've done with Mario, with 3D World. You could bring a similar style of gameplay back like that on a 2D scroller, and it would bang. You know, those Mario 2D games are sick. They're so fun. Me and Cass playing Mario Wonder at the moment. It's fantastic. I think there's a huge hole in PlayStation as a whole platform for a really competent platformer. And Media Molecule have the skill to be able to do it. We just need to be able to see them actually bring it to the forefront. So that would be my dream. Not to stray too far out, but to focus on gameplay rather than the gameplay and creative tool mix. But I don't know about yourself, Phil.
Very well said. Well, I kind of summed it up a bit earlier, didn't I? And saying that I would like to see, you know, Little Big Planet 4, but that's just me being very selfish because I love those games. And I think given the time discrepancy between the last Little Big Planet and now, if they just carried on and just made a new Little Big Planet 4, just think of what they could create within that space. And as you're saying, it would fit into your ideals as well, but they would have to create a new IP with you. It'd be a known IP with me. So I'd prefer them to stick along the same lines with Little Big Planet if you put the nails to me. But anyway, that brings us on to the next round of quick news. So Spence, get ready because I want to hear Street Fighter characters.
Oh, Blanca.
Ryu.
Cammy.
I'd say Cammy. Poison.
Ken.
E. Honda.
Sean.
M. Bison.
Chun-Li.
Q.
What?
Dalsim.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm out.
That's
So
so
late.
late.
Yeah,
So
way
late.
too
Yeah, so late, dude. Cause couldn't think of one for some. I stumbled, man. I absolutely
What,
stumbled.
Balrog, Sagat?
in it.
Like,
Bro,
come on.
Akuma, Ed.
Like,
Could have just gone
all
through
I
the
s-
DLC for 6.
You got the list of characters. I just see where Ryu is. Click that button, mate. No one else. Don't bother with anyone. Why mess when you got perfection? Why mess?
Mid-tier, by the way.
Quick. Yeah, terrible. Absolutely terrible. Oh, and it's your quick news, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Quick news. So, guys, I have some news from the world of Dead by Daylight. The casting of Frank Stone has finally had a gameplay reveal trailer. Now, lads, have you seen this trailer? Either of you.
I certainly have.
And Phil?
I have not. It's not on my radar. So I'm really interested to hear what you boys think of this one, because you are the connoisseurs and the experts of Dead by Daylight. So let's hear it from the horse's mouth.
Oh, yeah, brother. So, you don't actually have to be a Dead by Daylight expert for this one. This game is more akin to kind of an Until Dawn or The Quarry or one of those kind of supermassive games. It's basically exactly like that. It's just set in the universe of Dead by Daylight. And most DBD players probably don't even know the lore. So you don't need any prior knowledge. You can step into this as you will. But I think this trailer looks fantastic. Looks fun. Looks like exactly what I would expect from this world. It fits it so perfectly. And it looks really cool. Davey, what are your thoughts on this trailer?
Well, this is like a dream come true, really, because I love supermassive games. Now, I say I love them. I play all their games, and it's hit or miss whether or not they deliver the goods. Now, the thing is, this year I was expecting supermassive games to take it to space, which was what I thought was going to be happening this year, but apparently they've gone quiet on that project. And so instead, we're met with this, and I am over the moon with it. I mean, like, marrying Dead by Daylight, which I don't know if you ever do this, Spence, but you know, like when you're waiting for a game to run, you go into the crypt, and you go into, like, you know, the web where you can pick all your, you know, pick your next challenge that you're working on.
Yeah.
Every single one of those is written with so much fucking lore. Like, the start of whatever that thing is has got an entire story to it, which is just massive. And then, like, every single character I'll go on, I'll be like, oh, this character looks cool, I'll go on there. And you're like, oh, look at the bio. And it's like, it just goes on for ages. It's so detailed. And I can imagine there's a subset of DBD players out there that, like, live and breathe the lore the same way we do for the game that can't be mentioned, right? For me, somebody who doesn't read this stuff, I want to know more. I want to know more about the entity. I want to see how it all links. And for me, it's just playing another Supermassive Games game, but with Dead by Daylight on it. Great. Like, that's a fucking match made in heaven, man. Sign me up. But graphically, it looked fantastic. Gameplay-wise, it looks very much similar to what I'm used to. The thing for me, and this is the big unknown, how it runs will be the killer. Because those games run like shit for so long, and they get patched really late. So we'll see how it, you know, it looks great here. In practice, it might be a different kettle of fish, but cross that bridge when we get there. Now, Spence, have you played many of Supermassive games before?
I've literally only played Until Dawn. It's the only one that I've played and finished, at least.
That's the best one, to be fair.
Yeah.
Stop while you're ahead. Yeah, quit while you're ahead. That's the best. That's the best by far. So yeah, I mean, are you super hyped for this one as well then? Especially after playing like Until Dawn and getting a flavour for what they can deliver.
I mean, this has been every single time we've done like most anticipated lists. Recently anyway, this has been somewhere on my list. I am very keen for this, and I haven't played a Supermassive title since Until Dawn, since the PS4, when it released, or probably after it released. Probably around the time Last of Us 2 released, was probably around I played it, just before then. I loved it. If this is the same thing but DBD, mate, sign me up. What a beautiful combination. DBD is just partnering with everyone at the minute. Our next thing is Dungeons and Dragons. What does that mean? I'm gonna have to roll a dice whenever I want to do the gen? It's going to be crazy. They are just partnering with anyone, and this one makes perfect sense.
Now, Phil, I know that you played recently The Expanse. It's a very similar kind of line of gameplay as the casting of Frank Stone is going to be, do you think this might be a good little starting point for yourself, for someone to be able to dive in and maybe get another bit of experience in this genre that you've only just started kind of cracking into?
Yeah, definitely. And it's quite interesting to get more, Dead by Daylight as well, because I've jumped into a little bit with you guys, but I wouldn't say I'm an expert in any sense of the word when it comes to this IP. So to be able to play something solo and get a little bit more of that IP, and then coming into a game with you guys and being more equipped to understand what's happening, maybe some of the background on some of the characters, I would welcome that.
Nice, glad to hear it. Now, Spence, you mentioned about Dead by Daylight and the Dungeons & Dragons thing, right? I've done some reading into this for Dungeons & Dragons. How sick is this, right? So I was watching some gameplay for it. When you go up to items, you get a D20 that comes up.
I have seen this.
It's so fucking cool. A total dice roll that shows on screen, and then depending on your roll, certain actions will happen or different items will appear, right? Which are really cool. And they got these teleporters in there now, which is like called the Arm of Vecna.
You get in the locker.
Yeah,
And
it just teleports you to the
a
other side of the
different
map.
locker. Yeah.
So sick.
Bro.
So sick. Dude, we got to get back on Dead by Daylight. And I think there might be a reason for us to go back in. I think you got some extra news on Dead by Daylight, don't you?
Right, you are, my friend. Right, you are. So they are also releasing a brand new game mode in DBD itself. And this game mode is a time-limited 2 killer versus 8 survivors game mode. So everything is ramped up. Everything is doubled. And you're going to be worrying. Some of these killer combinations, if you're fighting, Jason and Ghostface, you're going to be cacking yourself every moment. It's going to be horrific. Or even Ghostface and Huntress. You're running from her, and where'd she lead you? Straight into his arms. It's going to be horrific, but super, super, super fun, and probably the perfect time for us to dive back in. Are you excited for this game mode?
Dude, over the moon with this. I like playing killer, but obviously whenever I play Dead by Daylight, I'm mostly playing it with you, or with a group of us. And so at that point, you can only be survivor. So like 99.999% of my time has been survivor based. So I know very little about being a killer. I've played a few games. I've earned a few trophies. I'm certainly not proficient. This will be the place where you can cut your teeth. Where we can go in, we can get some crazy tactics going, and you could just set up plays. And there will be like, if this sticks around, this mode, there will be such a huge difference in like when you watch like a pro game of Dead by Daylight when there's 2 on there, because there'll be actual like set play, and it'd be so sick to watch. It'd be so much fun. I'm over the moon with this. I think it's a great addition. Kind of part of me thinks, why didn't they do this sooner, right? Like, it seems so obvious, but hey, better late than never. And what a time. Dead by Daylight absolutely flying at the moment.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's definitely going to be fun. I think we're definitely going to try out the 2 killers if it lets us co-op. But dibs Wesker when we do. Because surely we're doing Wesker Nemesis combo.
Yeah, 100% we are. Yeah,
Easy.
of course.
Easy. What about you, Phil? Does this new game mode kind of entice you into going back to DBD and playing a bit more? Maybe joining us in the 8 survivor pool?
I think it makes the game sound much more exciting, if I have to be honest, because it ramps everything up. And as you're talking about killer combinations, now that's unlocking a new kind of area of exploration, I think, for a lot of people that are going to come into the game, because a lot of people would have only thought of the game from like a single killer perspective. But as soon as you start to duo things up, the game just expands and expands and expands. So yeah, an exciting time for Dead by Daylight, and I can see why they've gone down this route for sure.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We'll leave it there. So moving on, Davey, round to yourself. The category is going to be, look how eager Phil is. I could say PC components so easy, but I won't. We'll go with, and Phil, you're allowed to use any non-major titles for this. Video game consoles.
Okay. PlayStation.
PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 3.
PlayStation 4.
PlayStation Vita.
PlayStation 5.
PSP.
Nintendo Entertainment System.
Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
Nintendo 64.
Sega Mega Drive.
GameCube.
Sega Saturn.
Sega Master System.
Xbox One.
Xbox 360.
Nintendo Switch.
The other Xbox One.
Xbox Series X.
Nintendo Wii.
Xbox Series S.
A Jaguar.
Game Boy.
Commodore.
Game Boy Color.
Game Gear.
Game Boy Advance SP.
Game Boy Micro.
Nintendo Wii U.
Game Boy Pocket.
Fuck me. Sega Dreamcast.
Lynx.
2DS.
2600.
Steam Deck.
Ooh, fire. Shit. Oh, I took too long now. I was going to say 3DS. Did anyone say 3DS?
Don't think so.
Fuck, I was in my own head thinking, I can't say that. It's been said. Fuck.
I know I was doing
my
that.
own category and I
was doing
lost.
that with you.
I knew it'd be a long one, but I thought we'd get there in the end and someone would start getting lost. I can't believe you came out with what you said, Davey.
A 2600.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never had one. Here's the thing, right? I didn't make that up. Don't think I did.
No, Atari 2600 is a thing. It's literally a keyboard.
We've played with 2600s whenever
Yeah.
we've gone to like cons. They've always got them out, don't they? And and you can have a little go. But I've never seen one like in the wild. I've never seen someone like actually have it. I've only ever seen
My
it
mate
like,
used to
at
have one.
cons when. Really?
Yeah, he's got the same birthday as me. So we were doing a birthday celebration over it. And he went, Spence, come look at this. I know you'll like this. And he fucking had a 2600 set up and we played a little bit. It was weird. It's gash.
Wow.
It's a terrible system.
Terrible. Yeah, terrible. Oh, yeah, it's mine. Quick news. So I've got some financials to run through, and I think I may even be able to be cheeky and loop in a listener question here, but we'll come to that in a moment. So first off, some really, really good news here. Capcom reports record high net sales and 7 consecutive years of record high profits. So, net sales were up 21%, operating income up 12.3%, and this is in part thanks to Street Fighter 6, Dragon's Dogma 2, and acquiring new fans of its IP and growing those fan bases. In the last year, there was 45.89 million game units sold for Capcom, which is absolutely amazing, and the highest yearly game sales in Capcom history. Now, guys, we are all very pro Capcom on this podcast. In fact, I think we're 2 steps away from becoming the Capcom podcast rather than a PlayStation podcast because we love them so much, right? If we exclude the dinosaur game, they don't miss.
I was going to say like
This is
4 or 5 steps away. Exoprimal knocked them back, lad.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did, mate. It did. It really did. But anyone got any thoughts on Capcom here? Any surprises?
I mean, it's not a surprise at all to be hearing that they're still growing at the rate that you've just gone through, because we are massive advocates of everything, excluding the one dinosaur game, not Dino Crisis, obviously. Love the Dino Crisis series, but Exoprimal, obviously, that is bottom of the barrel, and we always look at that very negatively. But everything else that comes out of Capcom, we love, and, you know, anything that they're sort of possibly going to announce. We're very very interested to what they're doing. But no, I hear it's great news. But to be honest, I haven't seen a lot of this on Twitter at all. It seems to be something that is not widely spoke about. So maybe this is breaking news for a lot of people. But the news is Capcom are doing pretty damn good.
What about yourself, Spence? Got any thoughts on Capcom's raging success at the moment?
I mean, it makes sense, mate. They dominate like every genre they try to enter. So survival horror, the game the Kite mentioned, is our favorite in the genre probably, and it's fantastic every time. I'm still playing Street Fighter 6 every single day. I cannot put it down. They dominate the fighting game scene. Bloody Monster Hunter, whatever genre you'd even call that, it's adored by millions. They absolutely smash it in every single thing they do, except Overwatch-esque dinosaur games. That's where they drop the ball. Every other aspect, they smash it. They deserve everything that they're earning at the minute. 100% they deserve it.
Just a piece on Exoprimal. They're still active. I never thought they would have so much still going on, because I stupidly followed them when we were basically setting up the lie to try and get you to play it, Spence. And yeah, I still see tweets regularly from the admin account on Exoprimal. So there are a few people that like it. I don't see a lot of likes. I don't see a lot of retweets or a lot of comments on the posts, but they are damn active. So well done to the social media over there, or social media manager over there on Exoprimal, because he's doing a hell of a job. He, she, whoever is doing a hell of a job out there. So salute to you.
I tell you what, that is a job I would. We're talking about like people, committing suicide. I'd commit suicide if I was remotely tied to Exoprimal, because can you imagine that? Like, your company is absolutely slaying it in every single category, and you're the reason why it's not higher. Like, Oh, fuck me, man. Like, to be that guy, like, there's the Street Fighter 6 crowd come in, they're, like, shaking their hands, like, there's, like, a girl around the corner, she's like, please, sir, can I suck you off, please? And they're like, yeah, get in line. And the Exoprimal guy comes in and was like, oh, fuck, Exoprimal's just, fuck, he just turned up, fuck. And they're like, yo, guys, we just got Ryu in the game. And I was like, oh, mate, we don't care. There's 10 players playing this game, just stop, man, just stop. Like, this is the thing that should have gone the way of, like, all the games that just come out and just fall, and they're like, yeah, our 10-year lifespan over.
No, it shouldn't, bro. It should have gone the way of Factions. It doesn't exist at all. Never gets released. It should have gone that way. The fact that they dropped this game with, like, a battle pass freaking thing that they were advertising, and they had the audacity to show a Street Fighter 6 logo open up into Exoprimal. I was so excited when I saw that logo, and it was fucking Exoprimal. The game should not exist. Whoever pitched it should... I can't say what I want to say. They should leave.
Here we go, lads. Last tweet was 4 hours ago. That's how active these guys are. And they're talking about the Time Loop Rebellion returns in the following region. So look out. And they've got 86 likes. For an account that they've got, just shy of 20,000 followers. So, there was that initial hype. And of course, we've been talking about it a lot. So all our subscribers have definitely followed the Exoprimal Twitter. But I think people should start following them, because it's a very active Twitter. If you want to see tweets, Exoprimal Twitter. But just going back to a couple of things you were saying, and it reminds me of social media managers we've talked about in the past when we've talked about games like Silent Hill and the shit they're putting out to promote that, the remake. Now, at least the guy or the person that's tweeting about Exoprimal loves the game, or is just doing a good job, or is just good at their job. I'd far more appreciate that than someone just absolutely phoning it in, don't give a fuck what they're tweeting, like the person who was tweeting about Silent Hill the other week.
Really good point. And there is something there that, at the very least, you could say the majority of people at Capcom, not the devs on Exoprimal, but the rest of them, all doing a bang-up job over there. And it shows. I mean, you give players what they want, make a great game, and focus on the game first, the sales will come. And it's a lesson that Capcom had to learn from the PS3 generation, and the PS4 generation for a certain portion of it, where things did not go their way. You think back to, like, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Street Fighter V's launch. Like, there was so many things where it was like hit or miss with Capcom. And I remember, like, years ago now, people were like, they're going under, they're not going to be long for this world, they're going to be selling all their IP off. And so to turn the company around to the place where it is now, to have that strong focus on, games first, and to the great games that serve their audiences and try to grow them out from there, shows the winning strategy. So well done to Capcom, absolutely slaying it. And on the other side of things, we got Square Enix. Now, I got their financial results here. I'm going to just read them off and just go through them a little bit. And then I'm going to branch it off just a tiny, tiny bit and involve a listener question on here. So, Square Enix financial results. Net sales up 3.8%. Operating income down 26.6%. Net sales are up 1% due to Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, and DQM3. Dragon Quest?
It is a Dragon
Mobile?
Quest something. I don't know what.
Yeah, not sure what that is. Operating income down 38.3% due to higher development and advertising costs. The MMO subsegment is down year on year. Games for smart devices, PC browser subsegment down due to weak performances from existing titles. Publication net sales up 6.6%. Amusement net sales up 9.2%. Merchandising net sales up 20.8%. That's probably all those sexy statues of Tifa that you can go out there and buy these days. Now, there's a lot of doom and gloom on the internet about these results. And there's a lot of people going out there and saying, well, Square Enix, the reason why it's like this is because they made Final Fantasy PlayStation exclusive. Oh, they made Final Fantasy 16 PlayStation exclusive. It didn't sell well. There's this fucking guy, right? There's this guy. And oh my God, I can't remember who he writes for now. It might be Bloomberg. Can't remember. Because anything he says, I just fucking blatantly ignore because he's always wrong. And he posted out saying, oh yeah, it's due to the fact that they're going to abandon their strategy of releasing like exclusive games, and it's all because of the sales of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and FF16. No, it's fucking not. It's not. It's due to kind of like, it's a death by 1,000 cuts situation. There's a lot of things that are going on here that are leading to this. And Square Enix, don't forget, they did fucking Foam Stars earlier on this year. You know, it's like Square Enix do a lot of games which don't hit, right? Just don't hit. They're the opposite from Capcom, where you can't rely on them. You know, like certain pillars are going to be good. Final Fantasy's going to be good. Anything outside of that, there's a question mark on it generally. You know, like, is the new Tomb Raider going to be good? I don't know. Whatever it is, you know, think back to like Avengers and all this bollocks. They don't really get it. Now, Maloon has written in, and I think this would be a good time to be able to tie this in a little bit. There once was a show some time ago that asked 4 questions every fortnight or so. It became so rare they weren't prepared to have a versatile rhyme. Oh God, I'm scrambling now to get a word that rhymes, so how can I wrap this up? I'll take this mail and go. So, he says, less of a question, more of a request. Please, can you speak for all of us sane people by absolutely roasting the shit out of all the incels online, racist journalists, the idiots crying woke at everything, all the losers making fake outrage out of anything daily? Maloon, I'm sure that we can sort you out on this. Guys, how much did it piss you off seeing the same fucking bollocks on Twitter all the time from people that just make up shit? Who just look at a set of results and then think, I know how I can twist this to either be a great title, which is not linked to the article whatsoever, that the first line when you click into the article dispels their own fucking title. Or you see some shit where someone just takes a picture of, like Stellar Blade, for example, where they got their fucking bikini or whatever, and they're like, this pixel's different from the demo, they must have fucking censored it. And even the game director's like, no, we didn't censor anything. And they're like, no, you did. It's fucking woke. It's all this fucking corporate bullshit. Guys, before I pass it over, if people are on Twitter, like, permanently, just fucking grow up and go outside, man. Just fucking taste a vagina. Just feel what's out there in the real world. Like, why do these people get so annoyed and try to just twist things to spew a kind of agenda that they've got no skin in the fucking game? It's not like if they got stock in Sony or they got stock in Square or Xbox or anything. They're just a guy who owns a fucking piece of plastic under a fucking TV. I just do not understand this whatsoever, and it seems to be getting worse on Twitter the more time that goes on. Is anyone else finding that too?
Well, Davey, I am one of those people that sits on Twitter the majority of my time because it is always on my other monitor. Even when I'm working, I'm still scrolling through and seeing this stuff continuously populate my timeline. And I do agree with you, there has been a massive increase of kind of this clickbaity kind of atmosphere around Twitter. But I believe it's all fake. I really do. I don't believe what these people are tweeting, they fully believe. I think they do it, and it's purely because Twitter and social media these days and websites are all geared towards getting interactions, regardless if that's positive interaction, negative interaction, or somewhere in between. It doesn't matter. As long as you're interacting with you, I am winning. And it's the most evident on Twitter, because once you get that little blue tick, anything that you make another person do, you earn money off. So I'm going to say the most outrageous bullshit on there just to get you to comment on it, or just to get you to click on it, or just to get you to retweet it, or whatever it could be. Click the link, because I'm making money. I don't truly believe it. I'm just doing it to make money. And I think it's that transparent that they don't believe it. They're just there for the dollar bills. I don't know what you think about this, Spence.
For me, it's not so much Twitter. I'm never actually on Twitter, really. I never check it. Facebook, egregious for it. I posted for the first time in like 4 years on Facebook the other day, and it was because there was a article and it said The Witcher has been cancelled by Netflix, and then the actual link said The Witcher been cancelled by Netflix. Clicked on the link, not a fucking word about it being cancelled. It was just about Henry Cavill leaving, which we knew the year before. So they just taken an old article, given it a new headline, which had nothing to do with the article, and I clicked on it, and that made the money. It's awful. It's awful, but it's the name of the game. It's just the way social media works. So I'm not sick of it, because it's been going on for years. It's just something I'm used to. I just use the platforms less now, because I can't be asked to see it.
I think you build up a little barrier towards it, though. Once you've been around the block as long as I have, I think it's pretty obvious not to interact with these people or not to click the links that they're posting, because you know kind of the game behind it. You look at the bigger picture. And when it comes to video games, we are relatively knowledgeable about this subject. You know, we run this podcast, we meet up every 2 weeks to shoot the shit about it, so you can kind of there or thereabout understand when someone's just saying something to spur on conversation. But there are a lot of people out there that just fall for this hook, line and sinker every single day, and they get wound up on those conversations. Oh, what's the best of this game? Oh, this game's it's the really simple shit that really pisses me off on social media, where someone just, they'll say Metal Gear Solid 3 isn't the best Metal Gear, and they know it's the popular one, and they know they'll get the most fanboys coming back and just having a go, and they'll be like, and they're just making money. And that's what it is. But I just try to avoid all those things. I'm sure if you go back through my social media, there's tons of it that I've liked. But yeah, I think I'm smarter than this. Probably not.
I think there's just, there is something there about building up that tolerance, right? And that barrier to it. And that account that I was on about earlier, I've got it here now. The first time I've clicked on this guy's account, fuck me, this guy. Takashi, I'm going to butcher this, but to be honest, I don't really care. Mochizuki, right? This guy is just a shit journalist. I'm straight up just coming out with it. He's just fucking useless, man.
Ding, ding, ding.
Because it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Because this guy just literally will look at the same thing as everyone else, right? Listen to the same calls as everyone else, and come out with something fucking he's just interpreted it the total other way, right? And it's just bullshit every time. I think this might even be the same guy that was coming out being like, PSVR 2, really disappointing sales. And then we get the first charts. It's like, oh, it's actually outperformed like every other VR fucking headset. It's like, huh? Like, where the fuck did you get that info from? Well, the thing is, like, the problem is there's no accountability in this space, right? Like, if this was a major, like, kind of political news or whatever, you know straight away that there's certain places you can't trust. Like, if you're watching GMB news in the morning, chances are it's going to be like watching tabloid TV, right? Not going to be the best place to get your news. Maybe you should go somewhere else. Maybe you should go to BBC or wherever you want to consume your news, right? There's no... in the gaming space, it's like the Wild West in terms of someone will say something, and if they got a blue tick, it's taken immediately at face value. Everyone else runs with it, and because everyone else wants that engagement, it spreads like fucking wildfire. And then all it takes then is the company will respond out and they'll say, no, this is the reason, this is X, this is Y. And it doesn't stop things. It doesn't, like, you'd think at that point, everyone would be like, oh yeah, sorry, my bad. Sorry, I've interpreted that bad. Sorry about that. I'll do better next time. But no, it's just like, that's now what everyone believes. And then they keep on regurgitating the same bollocks and bollocks and bollocks. And you've got to just be able to be smart enough to, and I suppose just literate enough in terms of media, to be able to make sure that whenever you look at a piece of anything, no matter who it's written by, or especially when it comes to us as well, you want to do this, just make sure you're checking their biases. Obviously, we're going to be biased towards PlayStation on the general front. So when it comes to Xbox news or anything like that, we're probably going to err on the blue side compared to the green for most things, right? Everyone's got a bias, and it's about understanding that and making your own informed opinion. And people just cannot seem to fucking do that. And that's what stresses me out about Twitter. And that's why this console generation, this console war, be my least favorite out of all of them. I liked it back when it was the companies doing it to each other. You know, it was like Sega does what Nintendo don't, right? Great. Fucking class, that was. That was awesome. I love all that shit. Now, it's just like fucking Barry Big Bollocks Gamer being like, oh, Hellblade 2 only runs 20 FPS. I can't wait to play this in a year. And it's like, oh, just fuck off, mate. Just why do you feel the need to do this for? Like, just fuck off and just play whatever game you want to play. And as I said earlier, just go and touch some vagina. Just do something, please. Because it's so fucking annoying to see the same shit over and over and over again. That's my little rant.
So nothing against Jeff Grubb on this one? He's got away with it.
Jeff Grubb's a good one.
He's a good one.
He's
now,
a good one. He's a good one. I'm still sticking to the fact this showcase, what we now, the 16th, time's ticking, lad. Time's ticking. We got less than 2 weeks before the Davier's Right card is being played. I tell you what, nobody wants to see that. I don't want to see that myself. I want this showcase to happen. But time's a ticking. And if it ain't in May, I'm going to be one smug motherfucker, I tell you now.
You got to watch what you say about Jeff, because he watches the show now.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's sweating now as well, knowing that you're against him. Seeing the dates tick over, the calendar pages turn, he's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. If he gets it, mind, if it does come through, 2 for 2 strong. That's good odds, right? Like, I'll be betting on Jeff then from there on out. If he doesn't and it goes 1 for 2, I'll be so happy, bro. I'll be so happy. But no, Jeff's a good one.
We need something to happen with Jeff Grubb, because I've got the thumbnail lined up for round 2.
That was class. But yeah, Maloon, I hope that answers your question. And any other questions, of course, you know where to fire them in. But let's move it on to the next piece of quick news. Phil, round to yourself, I believe. And your category, we talked about it a lot. Let's do breakfast cereals. I'm running the gambit here. Have I been playing a long con? Let's find out right now. Let's do it. I'm going to kick it off with Frosties.
Weetabix.
Cornflakes.
Wheatos. Oh, fuck.
Rice Krispies.
Cocoa Puffs.
Lucky Charms.
Wheatos.
Said Wheatos.
Yeah,
Did we?
I think that was said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah. Me.
It was like the first one he said, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
sure
see
we
it.
said
We'll
Wheatos.
see it in the edit, because I don't remember
Yeah.
Wheatos.
Oh well, if we're wrong, then it'd be on me. I guess I called you out.
Okay,
Pick
fair.
up in the edit.
Fair. We can
I'll take
we
that. I'll
can
as long
take
as
that.
It's not on me. That's fine. I'll say best cereal right now to save myself. It's not me. Not me. I'm on 3 already.
Quick news, guys. And we've got a little bit of Xbox news just to go through. And I know the guys over on the other side, over on Xbox Marks the Box, they did a big feature on this. So if you want any more in-depth kind of chat about this subject, make sure you head over and listen to their latest podcast. It was very, very good. So the news is that Microsoft closed the Redfall developer Arcane Austin. It's closed the Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks, and more in devastating cults at Bethesda. So guys, there's been a bunch of changes going on over on Microsoft, and it seems like they've cut a couple of different studios, one more noticeable than the other, or notable than the other, being the developer of Hi-Fi Rush, Tango Gameworks. Of course, they did Evil Within and Evil Within 2. But this is crushing news to hear that they are getting rid of some of these studios. But I've got a bit of a 2-for-1, because there is an upside to this as well. Well, not an upside, but there is a nice part of this story that goes alongside it. And this is information from Remedy Games. So they said they took a lot of inspiration from both Evil Within and Evil Within 2 when developing Alan Wake 2. They are both excellent horror games, and we all agree on the show. And they said they are very sad that we will not get to see the continuation of the franchise from Tango Gameworks. And what they've done, they've opened the doors. They said they've got some positions now at Remedy Gamesworks, so please get in touch. So there is a positive little spin there for some of the workers over at Tango Gamesworks. But guys, what does this mean to Xbox? Let's get through this quickly. We're getting quite long in the tooth when it comes to quick news, and let's stick to being quick news. What are you thinking about these closures? Spencer, I'm coming to you first.
Sure, mate. I think it's just laughable. Namely, the Tango Gameworks being shut down. Hi-Fi Rush did so well. People were comparing it to God of War Ragnarok. It came over the PlayStation, and it was well regarded here as well. There's no logical sense to close them. Surely Hi-Fi Rush made a killing. I mean, well, it was Game Pass, so actually it didn't. I would say this isn't Tango Gameworks failing. This is 100% Xbox is failing themselves, or Microsoft's failing. Because the only reason Hi-Fi Rush didn't earn money is because of their stupid system with Game Pass. It moved over to PlayStation, extremely well regarded, made loads of money, and they're still closing it down. It's probably made them the most money in like the last 5 or 6, 7 years. Nothing else sells because it's all on Game Pass. So this whole thing is ridiculous to me.
It is madness. And one of the main points that Lewis and Alice made about Tango Gamesworks was that one of the bigwigs over in Xbox, he came out and said, we need more games like Hi-Fi Rush, literally days or weeks before cutting the studio. So it made literally no sense to target that one in particular. But of course, I haven't got the beauty of kind of the analytics and the financials when it comes to these companies. But ultimately, from an outside perspective and a less informed perspective than the guys over on the Xbox side, this one seems a strange choice. Davey, what are you thinking about these ones? Is there anything there that sticks out to you?
Well, I mean, the obvious one, of course, is Tango. Now, Tango for me were less so for Hi-Fi Rush and more Evil Within. Evil Within 1 and 2, slap tits. Literally some of the best survival horror ever. Like, ever. Especially Evil Within 2. So fucking good. And yet, here we are. There's now no chance of seeing Evil Within 3. It's like, out of all the games that would make me buy an Xbox, it would be Evil Within 3. That would literally have to be, for me, a day one purchase, and I would cover it on my channel, frame one. Literally frame one. I would have to go out and buy an Xbox Series X. So I'm not fucking playing it on PC Game Pass. Fuck that. So it would have to get an Xbox Series X for it. And I would gladly do it. I would gladly do it. Now, that isn't there. That is the one thing, like, I would 100% get one for it. And now it's like, no. Let alone, as you guys mentioned, the studio, the only studio, I think, in how fucking long has it been? I can't even think of the last time that a game from Xbox got into the like Game Awards as being like potential game of the year. I can't think of a time that Xbox have had one. They had one last year. They closed that fucking studio. What are you thinking, lad? Like, what are you thinking? Now, with Arcane Austin, it makes a little bit more sense because they made Redfall. However, their pedigree before that is the Dishonored series and Prey. I fucking love Dishonored. So now you've got the potential that Dishonored might not come back as well. Like, why do you buy these studios in like Bethesda to then shut shitload of it down? It's the same thing they're doing now over in Activision where they bin load of people off. Just don't fucking, if you can't afford it, just don't fucking buy it. Like, why buy it and then shutter them all so then these IP go to fucking way, the way of the fucking Ghost Man? Like, I would kill to see this shit come back. And it's not like as if Shinji Mikami, who's moved on from Tango, can just say, oh, guess what? We're making Within Evil 3. And just change the name. Because it gets fucking done for IP fraud. So you can't do that. And they can't be like, oh, yeah, we're not making Hi-Fi Rush 2 because, you know, we can't do it because that IP's gone. But, you know, Rush Hi-Fi, see it coming up soon. It doesn't work like that. This shit is just gone now. Cheers. Thanks a fucking lot, Xbox. Thanks a fucking lot.
I don't know. I wouldn't say it's gone. So, you know, spiritual successes exist. You know, like we got Callisto, which was Dead Space devs.
Name a time that you've had a spiritual success that everyone's be like, yeah, it was fucking, forget the original. That spiritual successor slaps tits. Like, name me a time, please.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but then that's to say a sequel might not be good either. You know, an actual sequel, Dead Space 3.
Yeah, that's the third though. In it, third ones always get a bit ropey. The second
Evil
one,
Within
you know,
3,
generally
bro.
always bags.
It's going to be Evil Within 3.
Yeah, it would have banged. It would have banged.
It would have banged as this would have broke the streak.
The thing about the Evil Within series and it being that survival horror and them axing the studio that, you know, developed that game and was a loved genre, a loved game, now they have no one else that makes survival horror to my knowledge over on Xbox. Again, I'm not super knowledgeable on what their studios are up to currently, but nothing else spins up in my mind when I'm thinking survival horror and Xbox. Now, that feels so wrong to me as a, you know, a survival horror, you know, purist and lover of that genre to actually just completely cut out your main developer for that genre. What's going to replace it? Is anything going to replace it? Sadly not.
It's going to be just more RPGs. RPGs out the fucking wazoo. Because that seems to be it now. It's just like, oh yeah, we got a new Starfield DLC, great. Then we got fucking Avowed. Then we got, you know, fucking Elder Scrolls 6 in 10 more years. You know, it's just like, where's the diversity of your portfolio when you're closing down the studios that make that diversity? It just makes no fucking sense.
I was going to say as well, when you said, could you name like another game that was mentioned for Game Awards and everything? The only one in my mind, now that you've said about Elder Scrolls being 10 years away, Hellblade was up for most anticipated like 2 or 3 years ago. It's still not out.
It comes out next week, though, to be fair.
Yeah, but that's late.
Yeah, it's taking ages. It's taking a long time. Looks good, mind. Graphically, it looks really good. But this is the issue now with Xbox, right? Is that because of, as you said, because of the Game Pass model and the way that they do this stuff, they want to be able to get things that make bank for them, right? They're obviously not making it back. Their software sales hit the floor because obviously of Game Pass. Their hardware is not going up at all. Game Pass is not moving numbers. You just know that like Ninja Theory are fucking next, bro. They must be shitting their pants. Because unless they somehow pull it out of the bag and get a game which somehow sells, being like an 8-hour experience that people are going to play in like 2 sittings or 1 sitting on Game Pass and then move on, how do they expect to stay open? I don't get it. I don't get it. The only people that are fine here are Rare for Sea of Thieves. That's it. Everyone else, I bet, is shitting their pants. Because how do you recoup your development cost? You cannot. And that's what they want to see. But the system is against them to be able to do that. Fucking lunacy.
Okay, and on that sentiment, let's wrap things up for quick news. It hasn't been that quick, so I'm glad if you have stuck with us through the entirety of those 6 news stories that we picked out for you. Of course, if you do want to take part in the show, make sure to write in MPS We Trust is our @ handle over on Twitter, and then of course we've got an email address which is pswetrust@gmail.com. So please get those questions in for next episode. Just to run through the scores, David, do you want to go through top to bottom? Spence, how many shots has he got?
Spence coming in strong. Hefty 3 shots to take into the big quiz next episode. Phil, you're coming in at number 2 with 2 shots.
Maybe not.
And for myself, well, maybe not. And for me, I'm currently on 1. It may be 2. So you and me may swap places, Phil, depending on how the Wheatos dilemma unfolds in the edit. But we shall soon find out, I'm sure. But they will all be rolled over to the next episode, which is the big quiz. And fuck me, it's going to be a messy one. I'll tell you that, lads.
Kick it! You wake up with a rumour and you don't want to go. You ask if it's confirmed and they still say no.
Yes, that is right. That fantastic jingle means that you listeners have made it to Rumour Has It. We have 3 rumours to go through. I will be presenting them for you. And the first rumour we have, apparently, Sly Cooper PS5 is in development. It's been going around recently that Sly Cooper could have a new game in the works. Now, where's this news come from? This comes from Jeff Grubb, who speculates that it is possible reason why Ghost 2 development has taken so long. He states that there is smoke out there for a new Sly Cooper game. Well, I have to pass this over to you, Davey. What do you think of this?
My guy out here speculating on showcases and now on game announcements. I can see Sly coming back, right? I don't think that's got anything to do with the fact that Ghost has taken so long. It just takes a long time to put out a fucking game these days. That's all it is. It's not even been... It's been a long time, sure, but it's not been an outrageous long time. It's not been to the point where it's like, oh my god, they've taken forever. Ghost came out like the last year of the PlayStation 4. It's going to take till the midpoint of the generation to put out the next game, especially if it's a big one. I think you got as much chance as Jeff Grubb being right on this as me speculating that fucking Resistance is coming back by Insomniac. Because we're both just saying the exact same thing. I'm thinking that Insomniac, they got a lot of people working there. Can't all be working on Wolverine. Maybe it's fucking Resistance. You got as much chance of that as that statement right there. So I believe it, but I don't believe Jeff Grubb's theory here whatsoever. I think you'd farm out to a smaller studio within PlayStation.
It's fair enough, my friend. Phil Hoy, how about yourself? What are your thoughts?
Well, me and Davey are going tag team on Jeff Grubb this week because I got to back Davey up on everything he's saying here. I've just got to echo every single one of his thoughts because Ghost of Tsushima, it's going to be a massive game. This is a AAA title. Now, Sucker Punch, they're not the biggest studio within PlayStation. They are quite tiny in comparison to some of the big boys. Now, to bring out a AAA title, it takes massive amounts of money, massive amounts of time, and that's what they're doing. And I just got to question Jeff on this one and pull him up and ask him, what is the smoke? He just says there's smoke. And of course, there's no smoke without fire. But what is the smoke? He doesn't go into that. He just says it's out there. So that's very ambiguous for me and doesn't convince me that he's right on this prediction of Sly Cooper being in development currently.
He's a very speculatory fella, this Jeff Grubb. Massively speculatory. And I don't know, the last time Sucker Punch worked on Sly Cooper was in 2010. It's been 14 years. And the last one, Thieves in Time, wasn't even them. It was Sanzaru Games. So I think if we get another Sly Cooper, I don't think Sucker Punch would even be the ones doing it. So what the fuck, Jeff Grubb? Where has this come from? Tell you what, Davey, this has been your war, but I'm now an ally in your cause.
Let's go. I want to get this up to a vote. Shall I add this to the Jeff Grubb prediction chart and add this in there?
Yeah, you have to.
How long do I give him before he's out of time and he loses one on this? This showcase?
Oh, 10 years?
Well, give him until we hear about Ghost of Tsushima coming out, right? Surely that validates this. If Ghost of Tsushima comes out next, then they're not working on Sly Cooper. If Sly Cooper comes out first, then that's what they're working on. And that's why we've been delayed. That's what he's saying, isn't he?
Well, they're saying that they're kind of working in tandem. That's how I'm
Working on both.
That's how I'm reading it.
In it, yeah.
But when would you expect to hear about it? I would say that if they're doing it, you'd hear about it. It's not a major title, is it? You know, Sly Cooper's not going to really move the needle. For people like us, it's hype, right? And it'd be great, but you know, it's not going to be like, oh God, stop the fucking press! Sly Cooper's coming back, and be like, oh cool. So,
Right, it's exactly what you were asking for earlier, mate. It's that kind of platformer.
yeah, it's exactly what I want.
Children-esque.
It's not going to move. People aren't going to be like shutting down fucking Twitter. It's not going to be like a Kratos coming out and it would be like, oh shit. Yeah, it'd be like, it'd be like Sly, like, oh cool, Sly. It'd just be one of those. You'd be like, oh great, well, I'd like to see him. I haven't seen him for a while. What's he been up to? This little crazy raccoon. So, all right, so I'll put it in. I'll add it onto the list. So that's another one there for Jeff Grubb to. It's all racking up in it. It's all racking up. Don't make the fucking. Don't write the check if your ass can't cash it, bro. And we're fucking watching that bank, but I'm watching that checkbook like a fucking hawk. We'll see where this goes.
I'm going to say, just to finish this little rumor, bullshit. Phil?
Yep, I'm going with bullshit on this one.
Total
Davey?
bullshit.
Let's get it, boys. Food for free. Fuck you, Jeff Grubb. Our next rumor we'll leave the one I think we like the most for last. So our next rumor, Lego Horizon Adventures PS5 to be announced at the already rumored PlayStation Showcase. A new report states that there will be a new Horizon Lego game announced at this month's PlayStation event, should there be one. This is apparently Horizon Forbidden West, but Lego, and that the game will have realistic graphics for a Lego game. A trailer is ready to be shown but hasn't been shown yet. This is from Insider Gaming. Now, sounds weird to me, but I don't know if you guys have seen the new Funko trailer for the new Funko game. It's like got all the IPs from every Funko thing, and it looks fantastic. It's like a Lego game, but for adults. So it makes sense to be seeing Lego games as well, but with Horizon doesn't make sense for me. So that's my thoughts on this for now anyway. Phil, what are your thoughts on this rumor?
I mean, Spence, who realistically wants this? It just feels so left field to me. Now, I know Lego has brought out some Horizon models and they look fantastic, but I'm not a Lego guy and I haven't, put down the bucks to have that sit behind me. Who would want the game? And when you say it's going to be a realistic Lego game, that has a disconnect for me. Right there, that's a red flag. But Spence, what I really want, and there's so much chat on the internet about Aloy coming back within Horizon. I want Horizon 3. I want to find out what's next. There's plenty of rumors going around about that. Is it going to be called, Horizon Nemesis? Are we going to be going off world? Not to give too much away with what happened at the end of 2. But what is going on there? That is where I'm looking towards, not a Lego game. Jesus Christ, I don't want to be bothered with any of that. I want to see the expanded universe of the standard Horizon and follow on from that cliffhanger that we got at the end of number 2.
Fair enough. Can't say I disagree with you, my friend. Cannot say I disagree with you. Davey, what about yourself?
I think this makes a lot of sense. This crossover. I honestly really do. No, I do. I really do. I think, like, you were on about partnerships earlier, about, like, PlayStation partnerships and what they can do. Lego do everything. Like, literally every single thing you can think of. There's a Marvel superheroes game for Lego. There's all the DC villains games. They do all different versions of, like, Star Wars and all these different properties that they take stuff that we've already played 1,000 times, but now it gets a little added bit of extra humor, and it's Lego-y, and it's for kids. And I could see them being like, yeah, do you know what? You already do the Lego packs for it. If you want to make something within this universe, you want to try and have a go at, like, making a Horizon-esque game, but with Lego mechanics? Yeah, fuck it. Why not? And then maybe this might be the chance that we can actually get some of the things that we wanted Forbidden West to do properly, Phil. Maybe we can do underwater combat. Maybe we can fly in a load of different mounts. The chances are the Lego stuff is going to be more Horizon than Horizon itself. I fucking guarantee you. I have way more chance to be able to ride more than, like, fucking 4 little tiny droid things, you'll probably be able to get on the back of one of the giant fucking T-Rexes or something. And that'd be sick. I'll be all for it. I think this would be cool, man. The only thing I don't like about it is this, where it says realistic graphics for a Lego game. What does that mean? Like, that's the thing that's like raising red flags. But I wouldn't be shocked to see this at the next showcase. I honestly, I think this is real. I really do.
I think it'd be so depressing if that is the Horizon game we've been wanting. If suddenly you can ride all the different creatures and you've got great water combat, you've got great combat, and it's the Lego game. Oh my! I'd probably just end it there. If that's the future of Horizon, I wouldn't want to play another Horizon game. That would ruin the series for me. What they need to do is just go back and patch it, or do a remake of it and just fix those big problems. But if they want to get the 10 out of 10s that we've been talking about, but to come out with a Lego game and that to be the best version of Horizon, I'm out, guys. That's me. End of the podcast. As Lurian said, what was it, 2 weeks ago? At any stage, this podcast could end, and that would end me.
Fuck's sake. I think it might get announced as well, so I hope not. I really hope not. This show could end in a matter of weeks.
Yep. It's a ticking time bomb.
I imagine that we're just like on the post-show wrap-up, and it's just like you and me, Spence, beaming. We're like, fuck, that Lego Horizon game looks sick. And it's just Phil, just head in hand. Just like, fuck me, no. And then next thing you know, we come back on after that game comes out, and we haven't heard from Phil for a while. He's been distant. And all the background of his room is all just now Lego shit. He's just mad into Lego now.
Everything.
Insane. Death Stranding stuff's out in the bin. Skipped it off. It's all Lego stuff now. Everywhere. That would be what I reckon happens. It would get you, mate.
And I'll be taking another mortgage out on the house.
Yeah,
because that stuff is expensive as hell. So no.
Okay, mate. I mean, I'm the same as you, Davey, I think. Whereas I don't think this should happen. If it does happen, it's fine. Realistic graphics is kind of what throws me as well. I think everyone should just ignore this news and go look at that Funko game instead, because that Funko game looks fantastic. And that's all you should do. And if this does get announced, hey, great. Another Horizon game. Probably a 62 Metacritic, this one, though. So who knows? Who fucking knows? I'm going to say bullshit.
Okay, I'm going bullshit on this one because I really don't want it to happen.
Davey?
I go with fact. I go to it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
God, I hope not. But I'll be excited if it does, but I hope it doesn't. Okay, so our last rumor, boys, and this is the big one. Can I say it?
Yeah, buttons off, surely. Surely.
Phil immediately.
If you hadn't asked, I think we would have rung it, but because you preferenced it and you asked, that's fine. We'll let you get away with it.
So
We've trained ourselves so well not to say it because we haven't said it for a long time by mistake. I think I may have been the last one, but no, I think we'll let you get away with it, or all of us get away with it.
I don't let you saying you think. You need to say I can get away with it, please.
Fine. You can get away with it once.
Okay. Once. Okay. Resident Evil 1 remake reportedly in the works.
Shot in the dot.
But if you tried to make me do a shot for that, I would throw it in your face.
No, only kidding. Carry on.
That's fine.
I would be outraged. But that's basically the news. RE1 remake reportedly in the works. There we have it. Davey, how are you feeling?
I mean, how do you remake perfection? That's the fucking question. Like, I don't know how you ever come out of this and it improve what's already been done in the GameCube remake that you can buy on your PS5, on your PS4. You can buy it on every system known to fucking man since the GameCube. It's everywhere. It plays perfectly. It is the best survival horror game ever made, bar none. And yet they're going to go in and put this over the shoulder cut out a fuck ton of content like they did for Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes, and then people, I guess, will be happy. Let me just say straight up, Resident Evil 1 is very different from Resident Evil 2 and 3, and especially 4. Resident Evil 1 is a puzzle game. That's it. It's a puzzle game with the occasional enemy that you run past. Resident Evil 2 throws like more zombies at you in that first moment. We're talking original PS2 version, PS1 version now. From the moment you come out of the crash and you run to get to the RPD, you see more zombies there than you have in the entire fucking first game. You see so many. And you're shooting them, you got loads more ammo. Its action is ramped up. Still immense. Absolutely fucking perfect game, number 2. But 1 is slower. I just cannot imagine how you can change that game and put it into like the same Resident Evil 2 style and it not lose what makes it so fucking special. I don't understand how that's possible to do it. I really don't get it. I just don't. I think this is a bad idea, personally. Really bad. But Phil, you're also a hardcore Resident Evil fan, same as myself. And of course, Spencer's, I know. But you're old school, like me. How are you feeling about this?
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And again, I'll echo every single one of your thoughts there, Davey, because ultimately it's not like they're struggling for titles to remake within the Resident Evil franchise. There's an absolute wealth of games out there that they could remake. But why are they going for number 1 to remake? It just kind of doesn't make sense to me, really. Other than if you look at the kind of financial side of these genre, of this IP. Because recently we got the announcement of Metal Gear Solid remake, which hopefully we can hear some news very soon about, of Silent Hill 2 remake. Why are they picking those ones out? Because they are the most successful. But then we're looking at Resident Evil 1. Why are we spoiling it? Why are we going down that route of picking that one out? Was it the most popular? I don't believe so. Like, popular vote within Resident Evil. So why would you pick that one as the one you want to remake? Of course, you've done 4. So that would be your populist vote. But if you look at it from a financial perspective, Resident Evil 5 and 6, they saw gangbusters. Why wouldn't you go down that route rather than 1? Now, the only thing that I can think about is just because of the time difference, because 1 came out much further down the track than sort of 5 and 6. You know, there's a bit more of a time discrepancy with those ones. But for me, it just makes completely no sense why you would go back and, as Davey said, try to improve on perfection, because ultimately you're just putting your neck on the chopping board, because you are going to spoil it. You are going to spoil that game if you put it into third person, if you now change it from being very puzzle heavy to very action heavy. It's just not going to work. I don't know who you're trying to appeal to with this remake. I really don't. So for me, I hope it's bullshit, but I know it's going to happen. It's inevitable, and I hate it.
Damn. You boys sour on this. I tell you what, I'm hopeful for it. And that's maybe because I played Last of Us Part 1, where it's just a full faithful remake. It just looks prettier. I would love to see Resident Evil 1 play exactly the same as it does, but imagine getting to see like Lisa Trevor in 4K with new graphics and stuff. I think it'd be amazing. But you just gotta hope they don't lose what makes the game so brilliant in that process. And I think with what they've done with 2, 3, and now 4 remakes, I think they have the knowledge and just the capability to do so. I think they could smash it if they do it. And I hope they do. Because like we said with RE4, even if it comes out and it's bad, we still have that perfect original version right there. So I'd love for them to have a go at it.
You make a really good point in terms of if they kept it the same as the original. Now, what I mean, for those that maybe haven't played Resident Evil 1, you know, you haven't gone back and played the remake that happened in 2002, and that's now had a HD liquor paint and available everywhere, and you've had it on PlayStation Plus a couple of times, so you should fucking all own this fucking game. If you haven't played it, it's tank controls out the wazoo. Fixed camera angles, tank controls, fucking perfection. Perfection. If I cannot see a reality where Capcom bring in tank controls, it will not sell. Not to the level they want it to. It won't. Everyone, I would fucking go over the moon if it was just the exact same game as the 2002 remake, but super fucking ground up built, and it's exactly the same. That is the dream come true. Does it need it? No. The game looks mega impressive even today. Like, it looks great. It looks fucking fantastic. But if they decided to do that and put it in, like, you know, fucking RE Engine 2 or whatever the new one they're cooking up is going to be called, and they put that out there and it fucking kicks ass, I'd love it. It will never recoup its development cost. There is not one fucking way it would. The only way it will is if they go mass market with it. And that is to make it go down the same. Say they take it down. You can't make it RE4 like. So it'd have to be RE2 like. But RE2 like was a great game. Yeah. It had a stalker enemy. That's what made it so good. 3/4 of the puzzles were gone from the original. You can't do that in RE1. You can't. They'll end up cutting out the fucking outhouse or something. Like, you can't. Like, you can't do that kind of shit. It's a slow game by design. And it only gets quicker when you experience in the game and you can speed run it and you know what's coming, you know where to go and all that stuff. You can't. It would just fuck it. It would fuck it. Tell you now.
I don't think it would, mate. I think they've got enough experience now. They're back on the puzzle train. They're back on doing those kind of things. House Beneviento was fantastic. I think they could do it. And the remaster of the remake, the one that everyone has on PS Plus, has the choice. It has the D-pad for tank controls and the stick for moving like in Crow Country. They could just do it the same way, and then it appeals to everyone.
That would if it had I'll tell you what. If it had fixed cameras and it had the same control scheme in terms of it being tank or with, it's still tank controls, but you've got slightly more movement on the axis, right? For like the modern control, you can spin, you can run and weave, right? But it's still inherently a tank control game. I'm fine with it. I'm cool with it. If that camera is over the shoulder, I'm immediately then at that point.
But wouldn't you like?
No.
Like, wouldn't you like to see the environments that you know and love from a different angle?
I like the fixed angle.
See what is really in the room rather than just what you're forced to see.
Be able to remove all the tension of running down a tight corridor because you can see in front of you. So you can see everywhere. So you're not going to have that moment where you run past and the camera changes here and now you get to see this. So you can hear that thing as you're running up here and he's right there, but you can't see him yet. Until you get there and the camera changes, you think, oh shit, he's there, I got to move back. And then wait for him to stumble towards me. I want to lose that because I can now see directly down that corridor in front of me and take him out from fucking miles away. No, thank you.
It's like what happened with Metal Gear Solid when they made Snake Eater, wasn't it? Not Snake Eater, Twin Snakes. When they made Twin Snakes, they just ruined the game because part of the appeal and part of the danger element in there was the shit controls in the original Metal Gear. That's what was the beautiful part of it, is understanding that control system and getting around those problems that you would have. And Davey, you're talking about it now with Resident Evil 1. If they removed all those, it removes some of the essence and some of the beauty that we hold in such high regard for Resident Evil 1. I do agree.
This is rare, boys. This is rare for you two against me. I like it, though. I do like it. It's new. I'm going to say this is happening. I think we can probably all agree, but I'll pass it around anyway. I think this is happening sooner or later. Maybe not soon, but it will happen. Fuck knows when. It's just a rumor that we know it's going to happen eventually. Phil, what are your thoughts?
It's another one, isn't it? It's going to happen. I just don't want it to happen. I think if they're going to put their efforts into remaking one of the other Resident Evils, I'd much prefer them putting the time and effort in and making 5 a good game. Because I loved 5, but I still think there's room and maneuver. There's room to maneuver there to actually make that a serviceable game.
I actually agree with you, mate. I completely agree. Davey, what about you?
I don't think this is happening soon. I don't think we're going to see this for a long time, if ever. I think their efforts, and I think they'd be smart enough to realize, and Capcom are pretty smart, that they'd be better off with the story they've been telling, introducing Wesker now in 4, go to CV, go to Code Veronica, or go to 5. Those are the two. That's the logical choices for me. That's the logical choices.
Wouldn't you have the same concerns, though, with them remaking Veronica?
Veronica's got a slightly different camera in terms of it's a lot more zoomed out, and it's dynamic, so it kind of follows the player. So it's not too much of a stretch for that for me. And I feel like I love Code Veronica, but it's a long way from RE1 remake. It's a long way. It's like I think when I did a tier list, ages ago, like Resident Evil 1 remake S tier, like best of the best. Code Veronica somewhere in A, right? Like there's a few games, like quite a few games that are ahead of it. So it can be improved, and I'd be willing to accept a change for that and to go along with that, because I think there's a lot of room to improve. Whereas with RE1, I'm not being pedantic here. I don't think you can improve that game. I think it's literally perfect. I can't think of anything that you could do to improve it.
But is it going to happen anyway?
No, I think they're going to do CV and RE5. And then maybe we could have, when this rumor comes back up, then we see it. I don't think they'd do it now.
Fair enough. So different opinions. I like that. So that closes out the rumors, lads. Let's move this over to a listener question rather than a topic.
There once was a show some time ago that asked 4 questions every fortnight or so. It became so rare they weren't prepared to have a versatile rhyme. Oh God, I'm scrambling now to get a word that rhymes, so how can I wrap this up? I'll take this mail and go. And we have arrived at the listener question, and this is going to be the way we close the show today. We do not have a topic today. Our topic is the question itself. Look at that, my God. 91 episodes in and setting new standards for the show every single goddamn time. Breaking barriers. That's what we do over in PS We Trust. That, and shout down and shout, and just chat shit about things. Generally, it's been Guernsey's had a lot of shit today. Jeff Grubb's had a lot of shit today. It's the way the cookie crumbles, my friends. Tell you who's not going to get any shit today. Our good old friend Potato Chief. He has written into the show, and he asks, we are nearly halfway through 2024. What are your current frontrunners' top 3 games for Game of the Year so far? Now, lads, we are 5 months in, so nearly at the halfway mark. However, I know this as much as you guys. We have been stuck with a lot of big experiences and not much time. So I think top 3 might even be quite simple for this, but the order is going to be important. And I suppose it kind of signifies where we go towards the next half of the year. You know, when Dragon Ball Sparking Zero comes out and gets number 1 on all our lists. But we shall cross that bridge when we get there. Shock.
He's right.
Yeah.
He's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, Spence, let's come round to you first. Let's give your number 3, and then we'll go round in 3, 2, 1 in a circular fashion. Can you decide on your number 3?
Bro, I don't think I've played 3 2024 releases.
Yes.
I've been too busy playing old games.
Oh, really?
I think so. I think I can think of 2 that I've played.
Wow.
What else came out in 2024?
He's on a PlayStation podcast.
Terrible, this.
It's embarrassing,
Absolutely
this
terrible.
is.
This is embarrassing.
This feels like me when I first joined the show. All those years back. Because I didn't play a lot of games. I play a lot more now.
We should just chant for shame, I think.
Shame.
Shame. Shame. Pull up your trophy list, bro. Have a look. See what you played. You might...
But I just looked at like my recently played games, and there's like nothing.
Just Street Fighter.
That's all I'm playing, mate. It's all I'm playing.
Yeah. Well, if you've only got 2, then that's absolutely fine. You got a lot of... You're in Master now. Don't need to bother anymore, do you? With Street Fighter. So you can lead...
Wow. I'm trying to improve, you know. I'm trying to get better at the game. Yeah, I don't have 3, so just bypass me for now.
Okay, no problem at all. Mr. Hoy, your number 3, please.
Okay, I'm glad you asked. And I have played 3 2024 games so far this year. And coming in at number 3, it's a game I talked about earlier because I've only just started playing it really. And I haven't got through to the end of the game yet. So I can't give you my full ranking for this one. I gave it an 8 out of 10 earlier. But for my third choice in game of the year would be Stellar Blade so far. I think it is a spectacular game. It's scored relatively well across the board outside IGN, and people are really talking this game up, and I am one of them. I am enjoying my experience as I went through earlier, and I think it well deserves that third spot within my list. So Stellar Blade, number 3.
Fantastic choice, my friend. For me, my number 3, and this is going to surprise people, I think. My number 3 is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I am enjoying the game. Honestly, at this point, if I had to rate it, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, it's fine. It's just a lot of game, and it doesn't feel really focused. I don't know if that's the game's fault or if it's just the way I'm playing it, but it's great. Like, it's really good, and maybe by the time I finish it by the end of the year, maybe I'll have a different opinion on it. But right now, at the moment, it just feels long, and it feels like it's not rewarding my time to play it. And that's why it's in my number 3 slot. So, number 2s coming along. Something, Spence, you can get involved with this now. Give me your number 2, my friend.
Crow Country. Only gave it an 8, boys, but Crow Country is fantastic. Granted, it's one of 2 games I've played this year that came out this year, so it has to make this spot. But it is truly fantastic. I adored every second of playing it, and I can't wait to go back and get the platinum. So it deserves that spot. I would not, if I played something else this year as well, I'm pretty sure Crow Country would still be in my number 2. So I'm happy to have that there.
Great choice, my friend. Mr. Hoy, your number 2.
Okay, my number 2 is the game that I started my year off with, and it started with a bang. It started with The Prince of Persia, and an absolutely fantastic game which I followed through to fruition. I didn't actually achieve the platinum in it. I think I was 1 or 2 trophies away from that, but I very much enjoyed my time, and I would rate that experience higher than the Stellar Blade experience, but of course the Stellar Blade experience isn't complete yet, so I'll reserve my judgment on that one to give you the full rating. But at the moment, Stellar Blade's my 8. I think Prince of Persia, when I gave it a rating, it was either the 8 or the 9. Maybe someone can go back and fact check me on that one. But Prince of Persia, an absolutely stellar experience, and it's one that I do recommend to you boys, because I think you'll both really enjoy it, because there are some very complex parts to it. There is a level of gameplay to this game that gets really, really intensive in parts, and I think you boys would really get off on that aspect of it. Now, the combat, bit samey. It's all down to getting those jumps and timing and threading all those different maneuvers through as you traverse all the different tribulations throughout the Prince of Persia games. So yes, it's a spectacular game. I do recommend it, but that one would come in as my number 2 so far for 2024.
Nice. Really great choice. I mean, Prince of Persia, I say it all the time, I will play it before end of year. I will. I've decided to myself now with Final Fantasy, I'm mainlining it. I'm just getting it done. And that's what I'm going to do, because I want to play Pacific Drive. As soon as Pacific Drive is done, I'm going to get Prince of Persia and I'm going to play it. I really want to experience it. And it would be a nice, I feel, and maybe you can pick me up on this, I'm hoping that it's going to be a game that doesn't overstay its welcome and that is kind of like a palate cleanser game in a way. Like meaty enough on its own to be a course, but something that will break up before then we get into the likes of, say, the Elden Ring DLC, or we get into something that's really got a huge bit of meat on the bones, you know? Is that a fair assessment?
I would say so, because it's not the type of game that if you went away from it for a long time, you would lose your place within the story because it's relatively simple, the story. The thing that I think you would suffer from is those reactions on the sticks, though. But knowing you, I think you're pretty quick to remember those things and to get yourself back into those maneuvers, because you pick up Street Fighter and you take gaps. So it would only be the same sort of situation you'd find yourself in with Prince of Persia, because I will warn you, some of the different things that happen within that game can get quite complex, so that would be the only thing you'd lose.
Nice. Well, looking forward to get into that very shortly. Hopefully, see how long it takes me to mainline the rest of Final Fantasy in the next fucking 700 hours. We'll see how long it keeps on going on for. Keep stretching out. My number 2, I am mirroring Spencer here with Crow Country. I honestly feel like this game is phenomenal, and I'll be amazed if this doesn't make my top 5 at end of year. I will honestly, there will have to be some like fucking insane projects come out, because it's one of those games that is just staying with me. You know, like I keep thinking about the fucking ending. I'm like, oh, god damn, that was so well done. Like so well done. It is such a great like feeling to finish that game and to run it again. And I know that I'm going to be going back when they release hard mode. So it's like, it's a game that would just be fresh in my mind, I think, for most of the year. We'd have to have like, well, we do have like Astral Rot and Tormented Souls 2, which could then take the shine.
Yeah.
But those are the only ones, I think, for me this year that could potentially knock it off. But so far, that is my number 2. And we're getting to our number one games. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think we've all got the same one. And it's also the reason why our game time in other games is severely limited. So, Spencer, kick us off. What's your number 1?
Tell us about Foam Stars.
Oh, fuck off, mate. Not a chance. No, Lewis, it's funny that you submitted this question, because we would be playing this game with you tonight if we weren't recording. We did move our recording to Thursday instead of Friday, and Thursday is usually gaming night with the boys. We would be playing Helldivers 2. What a fantastic fucking game. And sure, there was a little bit of controversy for a little while, but it's gone. It's gone. Everyone's forgot, and everyone's back to diving onto those bloody malevolent creeks and all that nonsense. Tell you what, I haven't actually played Helldivers in ages. We need to get back on it, or I need to at least. Fantastic game. Number 1 spot, completely deserved. It blew everyone away, even everyone that isn't a Sony pony. Everyone loves this game. It's adored by everyone. It deserves first place, not only on my list, on everyone's list. Fantastic game.
Mr. Hoy, am I going to hear I echo those thoughts?
I echo those thoughts, Davey. Yes, my thought is Helldivers 2, because it is the best game that I've played so far this year. And yes, I'm hearing it from a lot of people, and it isn't just the PlayStation crowd, as Spencer has mentioned. My brother and his friends, they are PC guys, and they are currently playing a lot of Helldivers. We need to, at some stage, meet up with them and see how that works cross-platform, because that'd be quite interesting to try out. But with Helldivers, we have taken a little bit of a break, and there is so much change over the last couple of weeks. So I'm really excited to get back in and see what, manifestations, or to see what has happened within the game, what has changed, what creatures have come out of the woodwork, and what weapons we can now use to blow them to smithereens.
Well, guys, both fantastic choices, and I'm going to echo those thoughts. 200 plus hours into this game, and for somebody who is trying to balance YouTube, a career, a girlfriend, everything, 200 hours is a fucking long time. That's longer than I've spent in Street Fighter. Wild. Absolutely wild. That was my most played game of last year, and it's May. So God knows how bad this time is going to be by the end of the year. I can't see it stopping. For me, I've enjoyed a bit of a break from it, because it means I've been productive. And I've actually got videos out on YouTube, which I stopped for 4 months, pretty much. So it's like Helldivers, it just takes over my life. So I've been glad for a bit of a break. But I, too, have been itching to pull the fucking trigger and to get back on it. And now that I'm back on top of my projects, It means, we could fit a bit of Helldivers in every now and again, lads. I'm down for it, always, always. Easily the best game of this year by a fucking landslide. It was the game that I was most anticipated for from the moment of its launch. I felt like I was shouting into the fucking void, saying how good Helldivers 2 was going to be and how Arrowhead just don't fucking miss. And then here we are. The world knows it. The world knows Arrowhead. And fair play to them, because they pulled out every single stop and they made the game better than I ever could have imagined. Well deserved. And I will be amazed if it doesn't make our number one slot by end of year. There would have to be some...
Do you know what's mad as well?
What's that?
Do you know how they did it? They changed the camera angles.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, God.
Oh, here we
You're
go.
not going
I see
back
where
to
he's
one
going
of
with
the
this.
rumours.
I see where he's going with this. Oh, fuck it. I see what he's doing. I see what he's doing.
He's got you.
He's got me there.
I got you, mate. They smashed it, bro. They smashed it. They made it better. Improved it, if you will.
Yeah. Wasn't a fixed camera before, though, was it? There wasn't a fixed camera. It was a top-down camera. So now you can see less. So maybe what the game that can't be mentioned needs to do is they need to put the camera maybe on... like when people have... You see those videos where someone runs for a train and they got like the camera and it's just on
What, just on their head?
Yeah.
And you just see their face reactions.
Yeah. That's how they can make the game that can't be mentioned one scarier. It is that kind of thing. Limit it even more. And that's what Helldivers did here, and they improved the game. So well done.
Bit like Blair Witch.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we need. An up-nose camera for the game that can't be mentioned one, please. Thank you. But yeah. There you go, Lewis. That answers your question, I believe. Not anything too crazy in that, I wouldn't have thought. But again, we are early days. We got a long old year ahead. Some major releases in the case of, for us, the podcast. We've got Astral Rot, Tormented Souls, Elden Ring DLC, Alan Wake 2 DLC, fucking Space Marine, Dragon Ball. There's a lot of games to come out for the rest of the year. And who knows what this list is going to look like by the end of it. But the only way we'll know is by moving the show on. And that brings our show to a close. Episode 91 has been an absolute juicer. A lot of news, a lot of rumours, a lot of fun banter. And guys, couldn't do it without the love and support that we get from our audience. So I want to say first off, audience, thank you ever so much for everyone that interacts with us as a show, for writing in, taking the time to chat to us on Twitter. We love each and every single one of you. For those who listen to the show and you're like, oh, do you know what? I love this. Each and every 2 weeks I get to listen to the podcast, get to listen to the boys, have a great old time. Do you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to put a fucking review on. There's loads of you that listen to the show now at this point. Hundreds of you across all different platforms. That review score did not move once. Not once in 2 weeks. I fucking check it daily, right? It's at 26. I don't want to get to 30. 4 of you just click the stars and put a rating on. Please. Just fucking do it. Save me having to reel this off every single episode. That'd be class. And for those of you who do listen on there and you decide to come over to the YouTube, then hello. Of course, we post each and every single episode on podcast services and on YouTube. So you can come and check out our beautiful faces and see why we are regarded as the sexiest podcast on the internet. Now that brings our show to a close. I've been Davey.
I've been Phil.
And Spencer's frozen. Take care, guys.
Peace. I hope Spencer's okay.
Yeah. He's looking a bit menacing, isn't he?
Quite like him like that, actually.
Yeah. He's better. It's
Just
better.
this.
Don't get any back chat, do we? Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Good night.
In PS We Trust is hosted by Davey, Phil, and Spencer. You can write into the show via our email, pswetrust@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @InPSWeTrust. To find each of us online, follow our Twitters, @SSJDavey, @PhilipHoy, @SpenPie_. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. See ya.